The man was transported into a comic book world, and there, he finally met the goddess he had always dreamed of. But because he knew the original story, he understood one cruel truth. As he was now, he could never protect her. So to make sure she could live a happy life, he decided to become her personal villain. Your little prank is about to end, Egostic. You did well this time. No wonder I accepted you as my rival. I don't need your approval, you worthless piece of trash. So you're the one who kept ruining my games and standing in my way. Today might be the last time we ever play together, because you've grown up now, and you're no longer fit to play my games. So from now on, I won't appear in front of you again. Take care, Stardust. After saying that, he jumped straight off the rooftop. But, with a complicated look on her face, she chased after him, completely unable to understand what had just happened. To explain all of this, we have to go back several years. The man's name was Kim Dane. At first glance, this place looked like a normal modern city, but it was completely different from the world he used to live in. In this world, villains launched terrorist attacks almost every day, while superpowered heroes flew through the skies to stop them. He realized that he had been transported into the world of the superhero comic Stardust. So he decided that, in this new world, he would become a villain made only for her. His villain name was Egostic, and his current plan was simple: hunt down villains. Using his knowledge of the original story from his past life, he would eliminate future threats while they were still weak, before they became powerful enough to cause disasters. Because he refused to watch those villains hurt his favorite hero, Stardust. And because he knew the plot, he had also awakened his own abilities in this world. Soon, he locked onto his first target. Egostic's first ability was teleportation. The instant he teleported beside the target, he activated his second ability. His second ability was telekinesis. With barely any effort, he took the villain down. That guy had just been looking over the blueprints of a department store. Just as expected, he was planning a terrorist attack. In the later part of the original story, he would grow into an S-rank villain. He would put on a rhino mask and become a monster who slaughtered hundreds of people. Then a voice came through Stardust's earpiece. The Hero Association has received a gunshot report. Please reach the scene within 5 minutes. Before leaving, Egostic left behind his personal symbol. A while later, the Hero Association confirmed that the dead man was the C-rank villain, Rhino. Based on the way this crime was carried out, it was likely the same person who killed the A-rank villain Enzodia and escaped before. Stardust swore that she would catch him with her own hands. After that, the news quickly spread online. An unidentified C-rank villain had been killed, and the killer was another villain. Some people said that if he only hunted other villains, didn't that basically make him a hero? After all, even if villains were sent to prison, they would just escape again. Better to kill them outright. He was simply doing what heroes were too afraid to do. When Egostic saw those comments, he couldn't help complaining. What do I do now? What am I supposed to do? What have you been mumbling about? Keep it down, asked Tonso-in, a super intelligent ability user. Because he had killed a villain before, everyone actually thought he had done something good. At this rate, Egostic's image would only keep improving. And if that happened, what would people think of the hero trying to capture him? Public opinion towards Stardust would become terrible. So, he had to stop this. He had to make everyone understand that Egostic was a true supervillain. And that was how the villain Egostic made his official debut. He loaded himself with explosives and prepared to move out. His target was a 111-story observation tower, a place famous for the breathtaking view everyone had been waiting to see. Then, a voice rang out through the broadcast system. Hello everyone, I'm the villain Egostic. I'm the one who recently killed Rhino and Enzodia. I won't waste your time with boring explanations. Can you see it? I've planted bombs on both sides of the observation tower, and I've started a live stream. Now, let the game begin. If there's a villain on the stage, then of course there has to be a hero too. The hero in charge of this area, Stardust. Hurry up and get over here. Finally, he adjusted his robe, pants, cape, and mask. He was even a little excited because he was finally about to meet her in person. This was no longer a comic. This was reality. And she was the A-rank hero, Stardust. When he first arrived in this world, he had prayed to God, begging to be sent back to his original world. But the moment he saw Stardust here, he understood that this really was the world of Stardust. In other words, if he became a hero, he might have a chance to stand by her side. He had read Stardust countless times, so he knew the truth better than anyone. Even if he became a hero, he still wouldn't be able to protect her. If he wanted to keep her safe, there was only one path left. He had to become her personal villain. You'd better not make any sudden moves. My subordinate is controlling the live stream, and he also has a remote detonator, so don't even think about solving this with force. what do you think of the stage I created for you?" Stardust was so furious that she cursed him as a lunatic and ordered him to release the innocent people immediately so she could punch him a few times and throw him in prison. Since that is the request of Stardust, the very symbol of justice, of course, I'll let them go. But simply letting them leave like that would be far too boring. Right now, if anyone presses the down button in the elevator, the bomb on the opposite observation tower will explode. There are 30 minutes left before the bombs go off. So, before then, everyone had better hurry up and press the button. After all, none of you know each other. If strangers die, it won't weigh on your conscience, right? Stardust was furious, but there was nothing she could do right away. I want everyone to see just how selfish humans really are. This is my game, the game of Agostic. The people inside the observation tower were all thinking the same thing. If the people on the other side pressed the button first, everyone on their side would die. And even if they didn't press it themselves, there was no guarantee the other side wouldn't. Stardust knew that even if she rushed in and took Agostic down instantly, if there were other detonators elsewhere, countless people could still die. So, she immediately questioned him. Is it really fun to treat people like toys? What's fun isn't them. It's you, Stardust. You are one of the few A-rank heroes who truly believes in justice and conviction, and you would never compromise with evil. Honestly, I respect you. Stardust had no idea what he meant by that. In reality, Kim Dane simply wanted to praise her in front of the entire nation. Since you look so helpless, I'll give you a chance to join the game too. I'll connect you with all the people desperately waiting for a hero. If you can convince them not to press the button before the 30 minutes are up, then the bombs won't explode. Stardust asked how she was supposed to believe him. Agostic simply replied that it was still better than doing nothing, wasn't it? After saying that, Kim Dane disappeared from the spot. The next second, every drone and camera turned towards Stardust. Stardust began persuading the crowd. I am the A-rank hero, Stardust. I believe every person has conviction in their heart. And this was exactly what Kim Dane wanted. He wanted everyone to remember that the one creating fear and chaos was the villain. All she had to do was keep shining, just like she was now. This entire stage had been prepared for her. Stardust's speech successfully convinced everyone. In the end, the bombs did not explode. Kim Dane seized the chance to appear again and deliver his classic villain parting speech. Those selfish people didn't press the button to save their own lives. How is that possible? In this situation, someone should have pressed it. There should have been at least one selfish human being like me. Humans can't possibly be that selfless. But Stardust refuted him right away. Humans are not as selfish as you think. Not everyone can be completely selfless. But human nature is good. Kim Dane put on the posture of a defeated villain and pointed at Stardust. This happened because of you. You were the reason they came together. In the next game, I will win. The moment Stardust's fist came flying toward him, Kim Dane's body slowly faded away. The last thing he saw was her eyes, burning with justice. The rescued civilians began chanting Stardust's name. Meanwhile, Kim Dane teleported to another location. The moment he arrived, his whole body collapsed to the ground. Because his teleportation had a deadly side effect, the damage his body suffered was proportional to the distance he traveled. Looks like he would be stuck in bed for at least 2 days. Then a voice suddenly came from nearby. Didn't I tell you not to wear that hat? It looks hideous, like something a third-rate villain would wear. Quick, give me some water. I'm dying here. His way of drinking water was a little strange, but at least he managed to drink it. Meanwhile, a breaking news report was airing. Villain appears, 0 casualties. That bastard Agostic actually played games with human nature, she thought. Next time, I'm definitely catching him. At the Korean Hero Association, a meeting was being held. Because a major incident had just taken place. In front of the entire nation, the A-rank villain Agostic had caused a massive scene. Next came the analysis of Agostic's profile. Agostic, male, wears a mask, and the mask appears to weaken people's ability to perceive him. We've seen all of this information already. Just move on to yesterday's case. He used teleportation to attach bombs to the outer wall of the building. According to the forensic and site analysis, that bomb had enough power to destroy the entire observation deck. A high-performance handmade bomb like that. Did he really make it himself? And what about the hacking incident? Still no leads? We still don't know how the enemy bypassed the latest defense system. Judging from the livestream, no hacking-type ability user was found at the scene. In other words, Agostic may have a highly skilled technical assistant working with him. Those bombs may have been made by that person. By the way, he also seems to have a very strong obsession with Stardust. That can also be seen from the messages he left for her. at the crime scenes. The president of the Korean Hero Association, Park Junho, looked at Stardust and asked, "You met him face to face. What was your impression?" Stardust believed he was a lunatic who messed with people's minds. On top of that, he had the ability to plan large-scale terrorist attacks. Without question, he was a real villain. 2 days later, in Kim Dane's room, because of the side effects of his power, he was still lying there half dead. Since he was thirsty, he barely managed to get up for water. "Bro, did you drink straight from the bottle again?" Kim Dane immediately denied it. "No, I did not." Han So-in was the girl who kept calling him bro. In the later part of the original comic, she would grow into an S-rank villain and a genius hacker. That was exactly why Kim Dane kept her by his side now. "Bro, this is my house. Why do you keep treating it like your house?" Kim Dane shot back. "Didn't I pay living expenses?" Han So-in lived in an underground home. She reminded him again that when he drank water, his mouth was not allowed to touch the bottle. "Got it?" Kim Dane patted her on the head and said he understood. But compared to that, something serious had just happened. "Didn't you mention a woman named Lee Subin last time?" "She's my assisted candidate, the woman who's been active online. You said she seemed to be a fan of Egostic." The TV showed that she was at the scene. Egostic's followers were kidnapping hostages and committing crimes at that location. They had also planted bombs inside the building. At first, Kim Dane thought that woman had been taken hostage, but the masked woman was Lee Subin herself. Egostic's followers refused to compromise and claimed they only wanted terror and death. The police had already suffered 3 casualties, and there were still 300 hostages inside the building. "Seo-in, our rule is that we never kill ordinary people, so these guys have to be dealt with. Seo-in, you'll help me, right?" The girl said she would decide after seeing how he performed. Outside the building, Stardust requested permission to enter, but her superiors ordered her to wait in place. If she rushed in recklessly, the criminals might shoot the civilians. Stardust believed this was all Egostic's fault. In the past, crimes like this were usually committed only by superpowered villains. There had never been a villain who combined superpowers, bombs, and hacking like this. Because of the way Egostic had pushed her into a corner, he had given other criminals inspiration. She never expected copycats to appear the very next day. Then Stardust received a report. Egostic had appeared at the scene, and he was live streaming on YouTube. She opened her phone and immediately saw the footage. Egostic was live, walking into the building as if he owned the place. The masked people shouted excitedly, "Our hero, Lord Egostic, has arrived in person. He would personally kill these ignorant fools." Kim Dane's entire body was aching from the long-distance teleportation, and all of it was these people's fault. 3 o'clock. The guy standing beside the pillar has the detonator. Once he confirmed the target, he immediately activated his telekinesis and took him down. The masked criminals instantly realized something was wrong and shouted, "He's not Egostic, he's a hero's dog pretending to be Lord Egostic." Their guns were immediately pointed at them. "After all, I don't need stupid followers like you." Kim Dane used telekinesis to seize control of their guns. Then he took them down one by one. Viewers on YouTube were completely confused. Wasn't Egostic on their side? Why was he killing them? Stardust also received her orders and entered the scene immediately. Her mission was to secure the hostages from both the terrorists and Egostic. Soon, only one criminal remained. Then, a voice came through Kim Dane's earpiece. "Bro, don't kill that woman." After checking the situation, they confirmed that the woman had been dragged there by force and had not actually joined the crime. Thinking she was about to die, the woman finally broke down crying. Kim Dane tore off her mask, and she was none other than Lee Subin, the person they had been looking for. She kept crying and saying she knew she was wrong. Kim Dane looked at her and asked why she kept crying. Then he turned to the hostages trapped inside and apologized. "Although I didn't do this myself, this copycat crime happened because of me. So I believe I bear a great deal of responsibility." The viewers online could not believe what they were seeing. What kind of villain was this? "To every hostage here, and to everyone harmed by this incident, I will send compensation money to your accounts. Please remember to check. I also want to apologize again to the 3 victims who lost their lives. I will send the highest possible compensation to their families." Kim Dane knew very well that even if he used someone else's account to transfer the money, it could still be traced back. But at this point, he couldn't worry about that anymore. Soon would handle it. Just then, Soon's voice sounded in his ear. "Bro, bring that woman back with you." Kim Dane immediately lifted her onto his shoulder. Because of the exhaustion left by his earlier long-distance teleportation, His body was almost out of strength. Right then, with a loud boom, Stardust arrived at the scene. This time, she was determined to catch Egostic. She lunged at him immediately, but missed completely, because Kim Dane's legs gave out. By the time she realized what had happened, he had already escaped with teleportation. Not long after, at a certain university, the news was buzzing about how the villain had actually compensated everyone for their losses. Netizens had even given Egostic a nickname, Mango Stick. College student Shin Haru was watching that news. She looked deeply troubled. Her senior, Kim Chae-hun, asked if she was having trouble with her assignment. "I'm fine, sis. I just spaced out for a moment." The A-rank hero, Stardust's real name, was Shin Haru. When acting as a hero, she used a perception filtering device to hide her identity, so no one knew that Stardust was actually an ordinary college student. Of course, Shin Haru herself was anything but ordinary, and right now, she had one major problem. Egostic. That selfish Egostic had clearly said before that all humans were selfish. Then why did he rescue those hostages? Kim Chae-hun pinched her cheeks and said she was making that dead-looking face again. "Stop thinking about it. Let's go get your favorite mango shaved ice." The moment she heard mango shaved ice, Shin Haru was genuinely tempted. But the next second, she immediately thought of Mango Stick Egostic, and once again, her face twisted with frustration. Kim Chae-hun never expected that even Mango could not save her this time. That damn Egostic had completely infected her brain. She had to catch him and expose his real identity. But in the end, she still went to eat mango shaved ice. Meanwhile, on the other side, there was a very ordinary-looking house. After opening the front door and stepping inside, there was another entrance door right beside the room entrance. When the second door was opened, an elevator stood there with its doors already open. After entering the elevator and typing in the password, the doors closed automatically, and it descended dozens of floors underground. The place they arrived at was Egostic's base, or as he called it, my base. "Bro, why are you randomly naming someone else's house? Sion, why are we still drawing lines between your place and mine? Your home is my home, and my home is your home." Right as he was getting carried away, he moved his leg slightly. A sudden burst of pain made Kim Dane cry out on the spot. It was the side effect from his earlier teleportation. Seon shouted angrily, "Why are you acting like you're dying?" Teleporting with another person doubled the fatigue. That was Han So-eun, the super-intelligent ability user. Although that was not the reason Kim Dane had recruited her, he had to admit, her fatigue recovery capsules were unbelievably useful. Just then, Lee Subin came back from grocery shopping. She asked if they wanted snacks. Kim Dane froze and said, "Aren't you wanted? How are you still going outside?" She explained that she had covered her face with her bangs when she went out. Kim Dane replied that this only made her look even more suspicious. The moment Seol-eun heard the word snacks, she rushed over. Kim Dane could not help wondering if they had brought Lee Subin here just to make her run errands. He asked Seol-eun why she made him bring Subin back. Seol-eun said it was obviously because she wanted Subin to become their assistant. After all, before Subin actually committed any real crime, they could still consider taking her in. Kim Dane strongly opposed keeping a terrorist beside them. Who knew if she might start shooting inside the house? But in reality, Subin had never planned to join the terrorist attack. She had been dragged there half by force by his so-called followers. "Your name is Lee Subin, right? I know everything about you. Your parents were researchers at Hanin Group, weren't they?" Lee Subin was shocked and asked how she knew that. Seon answered that she had read what Subin posted on the dark web. "Sis, you want revenge too, don't you? You said you wanted an eye for an eye, to make those people suffer what your parents suffered. We have also been looking for the leaders of Hanin Group recently, because we were victims too. Only after we find those people and crush every last one of them, can this hatred finally be settled. So, sis, will you help me?" Kim Dane finally understood. This woman, just like Seon, was also a victim of Hanin Group. When he had recruited Seon as his helper, he had also convinced her by promising to help her get revenge. Of course, he also did not want Seon to become the S-rank villain she became in the original story. As for Lee Subin, she never appeared in the original work, so she was probably just a minor character with no real role. That also meant she was likely not too dangerous, though he still did not know how useful she would be. The two girls, bound by the same pain, hugged each other and burst into tears. Kim Dane was almost unable to keep up with how fast their emotional connection was developing. And, from that moment on, So-eun's fake boy persona had completely fallen apart. That was right. Seo-in had actually been pretending to be a boy all along. Kim Dane decided it was better not to get involved and simply lie down to rest. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a man was forcing a woman to eat with him. "I just like you. Do you really have to look that miserable?" Then a police officer arrived and said someone had reported him for using violence, so he needed to come to the station. The man immediately ordered him to get lost. The officer said coldly, "That is resisting arrest. I'm taking you in." The man sneered, "You're just a cop. What are you so proud of?" Then he activated his power. He teleported the officer straight to a rooftop. Then he kicked him off the building. That man was the A-rank villain Kim Hak-chul. In the original story, this villain was actually more popular with the public than heroes, which left the heroes confused and depressed. And that led to the future supervillain she would become. The S-rank villain, the White Witch Han So-in. Her opponent was still Stardust, but the current Han So-in was nowhere near that stage yet. Right now, just because Kim Dae-in drank a little of her orange juice, she was already yelling at him. Lee Soo-bin quickly explained that she had been the one who finished it, and said she would buy more later. Once Seo-in heard that it was her sis who drank it, she immediately said it was fine. Kim Dae-in finally understood. This girl only acted like this toward him, so he teased her on the spot. "Seo-in, did you finally give up pretending to be a guy?" That one sentence made her face turn bright red. Han So-eun was a super intelligent ability user. She was also the only survivor of Haneun Group's Enlightenment project. Haneun Group had carried out illegal experiments on hundreds of children. One day, an unexpected side effect appeared in one of those children. Everyone involved died, except Seo-eun. She dragged her injured body out of the facility and hid underground. There, she built the base they were using now. After that, she lived alone for several years, until Kim Dae-in found her. At the time, she was still extremely guarded. Kim Dae-in asked her, "Don't you want revenge on them?" Han So-eun, "I happen to need your help. I didn't come here to hurt you. I came here to save you." In the original story, her twisted desire for revenge turned her into an S-rank villain in the future, and she eventually died. So, Kim Dae-in absolutely could not let her become a villain, although she was already his accomplice now, which technically made her something like a villain. He still had to guide her toward the right path. But this girl really had no manners. She looked at him and snapped, "What are you staring at? You wouldn't understand even if you looked." As for Lee Soo-bin, she had lost her researcher parents, but taught herself enough to enter a prestigious university as a computer science major. In the future, she could probably help Seo-eun quite a bit. She was a character Kim Dae-in did not know from the original story, which made him a little suspicious. But most importantly, her cooking was incredible. Then Seo-eun took out a stick-on location tracker. Kim Dae-in asked why she had made a location tracker. Seo-eun asked back, "Bro, did you forget what our real job is? The next villain you need to deal with is exactly who this tracker is for." The B-rank villain Kim Hak-chul has teleportation powers. He can only teleport short distances, but his teleportation has no side effects, so he can use it almost endlessly. And since you can't trap him with telekinesis either, he's extremely annoying. The harder an enemy is to deal with, the earlier we need to remove him. Kim Dae-in complained, "Do you have any idea how exhausting teleportation is for the mind and body?" So-in ignored the whining and told him to stop talking and get to work. Soon, Kim Dae-in arrived on the rooftop of the target building. So-in urged him to go in quickly. But Kim Dae-in worried about what would happen if the guy happened to be in the living room. So-in impatiently explained that she had already told him several times. Even if the guy used teleportation to dodge the bullets, the tracker would still attach to him, because the tracker fired faster than a bullet. "You're a liberal arts guy, so you wouldn't understand anyway. Stop wasting time and get in there." Kim Dae-in asked if it would not be better to just kill him on the street. Seo-in snapped that this guy teleported every time and never showed himself on the street. This was a plan she had made after investigating him in advance, so he should stop being annoying. Lee Soo-bin cheered for Ego Stick from the side. Seeing that, So-in awkwardly added a small good luck. Kim Dae-in teleported straight into the home of the A-rank villain Kim Hak-chul. He happened to see the man drying his hair. Kim Dae-in immediately fired 2 shots. Kim Hak-chul instantly used teleportation. Kim Dae-in immediately asked So-in if the tracker had attached. Lee Soo-bin, who was checking the map, reported his position. He is 500 meters east. Kim Dae-in teleported after him and somehow ended up on a public street. People around him started murmuring, "Isn't that a Gostic?" Kim Dae-in realized he was in trouble. This was not part of the plan at all. Someone had already started live streaming, saying a Gostic had appeared downtown. At the same time, at a certain university, Shin Haru immediately received the news that Egostic had appeared in the city. Hero Stardust, Please report to the association and prepare to deploy. She immediately slapped the desk and stood up. Then she remembered she was still in class and quickly apologized. But in the end, she still left the classroom. She needed to know what kind of scheme Agostic was planning this time. Seo-in told Kim Dayan to look at the crosswalk at the intersection ahead. It seemed the target had really been shot. Without thinking, Kim Dayan teleported over, ready to finish him. Right then, a truck suddenly came crashing toward him. This was Kim Hak-cheol's plan. He wanted the vehicle to run over whoever had attacked him, but Kim Dayan, who also had teleportation, easily dodged the truck. Kim Hak-cheol had not expected the rare chance he had created to fail, so he used teleportation again and escaped. He arrived on the rooftop of a building and finally realized that the attacker was Agostic. That meant the two villains Agostic had killed before probably had not died because of some personal grudge, but none of that mattered to him. Then a voice rang out. A-rank villain teleport, go to hell. The crowd finally began to wonder if Agostic really only killed villains. Kim Hak-cheol used teleportation again to flee. The two of them continued the chase, with Kim Hak-cheol teleporting away again and again. He even grabbed a random passerby and threw him behind him. Kim Dayan caught the person gracefully. Because Kim Hak-cheol had already been wounded by the gunshots, he eventually collapsed. Kim Dayan looked down at him and said, "Villain teleport, you know the crimes you committed, don't you? You stole tens of billions in assets and caused the deaths of 4 innocent people." Then Kim Dayan turned to the crowd watching nearby and asked, "Do you want him to live?" Everyone immediately shouted, "Kill him, kill him, kill him." Kim Hak-cheol cursed them furiously. "You bastards. When you say things like that, how are you any different from me?" Kim Dayan knew very well that this man would become an S-rank villain in the future and cause hundreds of deaths. Most importantly, he had also hurt Stardust, so Kim Dayan fired several final shots and killed Kim Hak-cheol. But what felt deeply wrong was that the crowd started cheering instead of running away. That was not normal. Aside from the existence of superpowered people, this world was actually very similar to his original one. But every time something like this happened, Kim Dayan was reminded that this world was still different from his old one. He really could not get used to its people, so he raised his gun and aimed it at the crowd. "I'm a villain. Aren't you afraid of me?" Then a voice called out, "Agostic." It was Stardust. She had arrived. Kim Dayan knew that causing more trouble here would be too conspicuous. In daily life, Stardust was a slightly cold, ordinary college student, but every time she transformed into a hero, she spoke in that awkward, old-fashioned, heroic tone, and it was honestly too cute. "Agostic, what exactly have you done?" Kim Dayan answered. "You ask what I've done? I simply dealt with the A-rank bank robber teleport and did what heroes should have done." For a moment, Stardust could not find the words to respond. If he was an A-rank villain, then heroes had the authority to execute him, didn't they? But, Agostic, are you a hero? Kim Dayan immediately realized this was the perfect chance to win public support for Stardust, especially with so many people filming. So he said, "As expected of Stardust, a villain like me privately punishing criminals is of course illegal. I truly admire your unwavering sense of justice. For today, I'll be taking my leave." The people around them began talking. Do only heroes have the right to catch bad guys? Stardust seemed to arrive only after everything was already over. With her abilities, she could never have caught a teleporting villain. Honestly, what did Agostic even do wrong? Kim Dayan felt more and more like the script was going completely off track. Seo-in also urged him through the earpiece, "Bro, stop rambling and get back here already." With no time left, Kim Dayan could only awkwardly tell Stardust, "I'm not saying what I did was right. I will continue doing evil like a villain. So Stardust, you must stop me." After saying that, he left with teleportation. The crowd that had gathered to watch also slowly dispersed. Only Stardust remained there. Her expression strangely complicated. Kim Dayan teleported back home, and Seo-in immediately shouted for Lee Subin to come help. She told Subin that this was a side effect of teleportation. It took both of them working together just to drag Kim Dayan. Meanwhile, an online forum even started a poll. Compared to the stiff and old-fashioned Stardust, people seem to prefer the real man, Mango Stick. The number of votes supporting Agostic completely crushed Stardust. When Stardust saw those comments, her expression became even more complicated, and no one knew what she was thinking. That year, Shinharu was only 17. Someone murdered her parents. Because the killer had run out of time, he left the scene early, and because of that, she barely survived. It was also that night that she awakened the power of Stardust. Not long after, at Seoin's base, Kim Dane finally woke up. Seoin told him to eat while listening to the news. The news, of course, was about the A-rank villain, Egostic. He had taken down the A-rank villain Rhino and the S-rank villain Inzodia. He had made the boring lives of Korean citizens more exciting, and the observation tower incident had ended with 0 casualties. He had also suppressed the terrorist attack caused by his followers and even paid compensation to the hostages. Then he took down the A-rank villain Teleport, who was officially recognized by the Hero Association as one of the hardest villains to catch. Now, people were saying that Egostic did not seem like a villain at all. One related post even had 7,842 upvotes and only 12 downvotes. Some people believed Egostic was far stronger than Stardust, and that Stardust had not really done anything. After all, Egostic had already caught 3 or more villains. Meanwhile, Stardust, as one of the 3 A-rank heroes, did not seem to have any major achievements. Shadowwalker and Frostblade had both saved dozens, even hundreds of people. Compared to them, Stardust really seemed like she had done nothing. And now, Egostic even had his own fan forum. Kim Dane could not understand these lunatics at all. Why would anyone create a fan forum for a villain? He could not let this continue. He had to prepare the next crime immediately. He had to make everyone understand who the real villain was and who the real hero was. More importantly, he had to make Stardust's popularity skyrocket. At that moment, Shinharu was still eating mango-shaved ice. But in her mind, she kept hearing the criticism people had thrown at her. Did Stardust only show up after everything was already over? With her strength, she could never catch a teleporting villain anyway. Compared to heroes who only gave villains light punishment, the citizens preferred Egostic, who killed villains directly. She could not understand why she was being criticized when she had worked so hard. She slapped her cheeks, trying to pull herself together. Then, a voice asked what was wrong. It was her senior, Kim Chae-hyun. She told Shinharu that the weather was so nice, so she should take a break once in a while. Then she pulled out her phone, wanting to show Haru something interesting. It was something that had become extremely popular lately. Egostic's official fan forum, the Mango Crew. Apparently, everyone had been really into Egostic lately. Shinharu never expected that even Chae-hyun would like that guy. And the bigger problem was that Egostic was live streaming right now. Shinharu immediately received a message. This time, Egostic had once again called out Stardust by name. The association told her to report in immediately, then head to the scene. Haru could only say goodbye to Chae-hyun and leave. This time, she would definitely catch him. The location was a remote railway. Kim Dane was live streaming from there. As expected, the viewers were extremely hyped. After all, he had recently received a lot of messages saying people liked him. Some even said he was not a villain, but actually a hero. There was even an official Egostic fan forum now, the Mango Crew. But everyone, aren't you misunderstanding something? I am a villain. The train is about to arrive. Stardust, are you watching? The chat instantly filled with question marks. Then one comment appeared. Even at a time like this, he's still calling for Stardust. That's true love. The rules of the game are simple. Will she choose to save 1 person or 5 people? Or will she sacrifice the few for the greater good? If you pull the lever, the people on the other side will have to say goodbye. And if you try to save all of them, I will blow up this train immediately. You only have one choice. At that moment, Stardust finally rushed onto the scene. For a moment, she did not know what to choose. If she tried to save them all at once, the passengers on the train would be in danger. She had to find a way to save everyone. But the train was already about to come crashing through. The crowd believed that saving 4 people was obviously more important than saving 1. But Kim Dane knew Stardust was not that kind of person. She chose to charge straight toward the train. At that moment, the one controlling the train was Lee Subin. Kim Dane put on an exaggerated act and shouted, "What is Stardust doing? She'll be crushed if this keeps up. Why is she trying to get herself killed?" Someone commented that this guy really was a total tsundere. Stardust managed to stop the train, but its speed was still increasing. That was because Lee Subin, who was controlling the train, had fainted from fear. Still, so far, everything was going according to plan. If not for the fact that Shadowwalker acted at night, Kim Dane could have carried this whole thing out more comfortably after dark. But secretly preparing a crime in broad daylight required him to watch out for far too many things. After putting all of this together, Kim Dane even felt a little proud of himself. In the original story, Stardust would become depressed after defeating villains, but she would also grow stronger through those battles. Now Kim Dane had already taken those villains out for her, ahead of time. But without this crisis, she would lose her chance to grow. That was why this train incident was the training ground Kim Dane had prepared for her. Of course, on the surface, he still had to act innocent and make everyone believe this had not been intentional. But in reality, every bit of it had been intentional. Stardust's powers were strength and flight. But both of them were still missing that final 2%. And because of that tiny gap, she had not yet become a complete A-rank hero. Technically, she should not have been able to stop this train. But what no one else knew was that Stardust's true power was not just strength and flight. Whenever she faced a real crisis, her power would surge explosively in an instant. That was why Kim Dane believed she should be able to stop the accelerating train. But right then, Lee Subin suddenly passed out. No matter how many times Kim Dane called her, she could not hear him. This was completely outside his expectations. If even one hostage trapped on the tracks died, the whole plan would be ruined. And Stardust would definitely fall onto the path of despair. Just as Kim Dane had no idea what to do, Stardust's powers suddenly surged again. When the train was only one step away from the hostage, she stopped it with brute force. And in that moment, she finally broke away from her original path of despair, after successfully holding back the train. Kim Dane could not help shouting, "Nice job!" But he immediately caught himself and changed his words. She actually stopped it. The result was not exactly what he had planned, but she still solved the double bind in her own way. Some viewers in the comments wondered why Agostic had just shouted "nice job," but overall, public opinion had completely shifted towards Stardust. This incident finally improved her reputation, and that was exactly the reaction Kim Dane wanted. He looked into the livestream camera and said, "Did you all see that? That is the hero known as Stardust. As long as she wants to save people, she will keep growing stronger." After using up all her strength, Stardust finally collapsed. Seeing that, Kim Dane quickly teleported over to check on her. She barely opened one eye at the very end and saw that the person standing before her was Agostic. "Well done. This time, you win. I'm leaving now, so get some rest." After saying that, Kim Dane gently closed her eyes with his hand. Then this criminal act ends here. Thank you all for watching. And with that, the live stream ended. But the viewers were all left wondering about that strange atmosphere between the two of them. The next morning, Soeun started yelling for him to wake up. She complained that he had only carried out one criminal attack, so why did he look this worn out? Even so, she still cooked 3 bowls of instant noodles and brought them over. Lee Subin could hardly believe that Soeun had made them herself. Kim Dane patted Soeun on the head and thanked her with a smile. After the 3 of them finished eating the noodles, they prepared to check the news. They wanted to see how the media would report yesterday's glorious achievement. Kim Dane believed his villain image had definitely been established this time. While Stardust's popularity must have skyrocketed too, it was the perfect 2 birds with 1 stone. But the moment Seon saw the headline, she burst out laughing. The next news story actually said that Stardust and Agostic were rumored to be dating. The report continued, saying that yesterday morning, after the A-rank hero Stardust stopped the train, everyone should look at this photo. From the picture alone, the relationship between this villain and this hero looked exactly like a couple. Shin Haru happened to see that news as well. She was so furious that she crushed the cup in her hand, completely unable to understand what these people were even talking about. The broadcast continued. Korea's most popular villain, Agostic, and the rising star hero Stardust were rumored to be in a passionate relationship. As for why rumors of their romance had spread, please take a look at this reference photo. In the picture, Stardust's name was written on the bomb, and the key point was that it was not just her name. It said the bomb was a gift for Stardust. Next, look at this scene. Look at Mango Stick's gentle eyes. Do you all see that? If that is not love, then what is? After Mango Stick gently touched her, Stardust closed her eyes and finally fell asleep in peace. If that does not count as dating, then what exactly does? At school, Shinharu was still watching the video. She could only wonder if everyone had lost their minds. How could they possibly say she was in love with a lunatic villain like him? That would never happen. Absolutely never. And yet for some reason, hatred and disgust kept boiling up inside her. But mixed in with those feelings, there seemed to be something strange that even she could not explain. Just then, Kim Chae-hyun came over to her. "Haru, today we're going to heal that poor soul of yours, the one your assignments have completely destroyed. Let's go have some fun." Meanwhile, Inside Seon's secret base, Han So-eun was rolling around on the floor, yelling that she wanted to go out and have fun. After all, they had already carried out 2 criminal operations. Kim Dane agreed to let her go out. So-eun immediately sprang up from the floor and cheered. After all, in the original story, that man was clearly a supervillain, yet he had still made the female hero show an expression like that. 3 years ago, at the Hero Association. At the time, the association was introducing a piece of equipment that was essential for every hero. It was called the perception filtering device, commonly known simply as the filter. Once a hero entered the device, a filtering layer would form over their face. When ordinary people saw them, it would create an effect similar to face blindness. But if a hero exposed their real face directly to someone who knew them, the filter would stop working. Everyone present knew exactly how dangerous it was for a hero's real identity to be exposed. It would not just destroy their career, their entire life could be ruined. So this was something they had to remember. And right now, Crocodile Man had appeared and was causing destruction everywhere. Shinharu had no time to go back to headquarters and apply the filter, but she believed that a hero should not run away in a situation like this. So she prepared to stop hiding her true identity and directly take down Crocodile Man. Just then, someone shouted, "It's Agostic! Agostic is here!" Shinharu heard that voice, too. The true great villain of this era, the public enemy of Korea, was none other than me, Agostic. Kim Dane knew that in the original story, Stardust had suffered greatly after her identity was exposed. For a hero, an ordinary daily life was extremely important, so he immediately provoked Crocodile Man. "You're nothing but trash." Crocodile Man recognized him too. The man in front of him was Agostic, the villain who had been acting all lovey-dovey with Stardust. The live stream comments immediately pointed out that Stardust's obsessed fan, Crocodile Man, had arrived. Crocodile Man climbed along the wall at high speed. Then, he leaped onto the rooftop and charged straight at Kim Dane. Kim Dane teleported once and appeared directly above his head. "You know my name, but you don't know I can teleport," he said, tapping Crocodile Man on the head. Crocodile Man tried to strike back, but he could not even touch him. He roared at Agostic to fight him fair and square. Kim Dane asked back, "I'm the villain Agostic. Why would I fight fair and square?" Still, he remembered that he did need to explain why Agostic had appeared here. If he left it alone, everyone would definitely misunderstand again and say he had shown up specifically for Stardust. So, he looked at Crocodile Man and asked, "Crocodile, let me ask you something. Why did you suddenly launch this attack?" Crocodile Man answered, "My target is Stardust, so attacking you is only natural. You seem very interested in Stardust too, which makes you my enemy." Kim Dane could not understand what kind of insane logic this was, but the comments were already going wild. Even this stupid villain knows Mango Stick likes Stardust. He doesn't know Agostic can teleport, but he knows Agostic likes Stardust. 2 men are fighting over 1 woman. Crocodile Man pointed at Agostic and roared, "You were the one who said you were going to kill me first." Kim Dane denied it immediately. When did I ever say that? But even the comments were reminding him that he had definitely said it. "A crocodile causing trouble on my turf? You're dead today." "Wasn't that exactly what you said?" Kim Dane panicked on the spot. That was not what he had been asking about. Why had this crocodile suddenly become so good at arguing? Worse, the comments were all saying the crocodile was right. Seeing Agostic still playing dumb, Crocodile Man let out a furious roar, and a fireball began forming inside his mouth. Kim Dane immediately realized what it was. Was this Crocodile Man's special move? That kind of attack still would not be able to touch him. But if it even grazed him, he could die on the spot. So Kim Dane brought out the weapons he had prepared in advance. Dozens of guns. He activated telekinesis and fired all of them at once. But after the smoke cleared, Crocodile Man's body was completely unharmed. "You thought a few bullets could hurt me?" But Kim Dane only smirked, because this was exactly what he wanted. He needed the enemy to let his guard down. The next second, he threw away the mask on his face. At the same time, he pulled out the gas mask he had prepared beforehand. Then, he threw a spherical bomb at Crocodile Man. The bomb landed perfectly inside Crocodile Man's mouth. With a thunderous boom, it exploded. In the original story, that tough hide had caused Stardust plenty of trouble. How could Kim Dane possibly not prepare for it? The comments immediately exploded. Everyone was saying the association should just appoint Mango Stick as a hero already. After doing all that, he was still calling himself a villain? But because he had used too much power just now, Kim Dane's body was almost at its limit. He had planned to use telekinesis to put the weapons away again. but his stamina was completely drained. Even raising his phone had become difficult. So he hurriedly explained to the livestream that he had only come here because he hated that crocodile guy. There was no way he had defeated a villain for starters, and definitely not for justice. The comments immediately teased him, saying that made perfect sense. Just then, Stardust finally arrived, after changing into her gear. Looking at the fallen crocodile man, she asked, "Did you defeat him?" Kim Dane answered, "He was in my way, so I got rid of him." Stardust immediately questioned him. "Why?" Kim Dane answered coldly, "Because he loudly claimed that you and I were acting all lovey-dovey, and that annoyed me." After that, Kim Dane turned off the audio on the livestream. Then he quietly said to Stardust, "Stardust, don't ever show your real face in front of people like you did today. Once your identity is exposed, your life will become a nightmare." Before Stardust could understand what he meant, Kim Dane turned back to the viewers and announced, "That's all for today's livestream. There will be a major event next month, so stay tuned." The comments immediately demanded to know what the two of them had talked about while the sound was off. But before Stardust could say anything, Kim Dane teleported away. After returning to Seoin's base, Kim Dane coughed up several mouthfuls of red liquid, and his whole body looked far more haggard. The next second, he collapsed unconscious inside the base. Meanwhile, Stardust picked up the mask Kim Dane had left behind. She could not help murmuring, "How does he know what I'm thinking?" After returning home, Shin Haru checked the news online. The headline read, "The A-rank villain Crocodile Man, who caused chaos at the ice cream festival, has been detained." After being subdued by Agostic, he was transferred to the Eastern Superhuman Detention Center. Agostic, an A-rank villain himself, arrived faster than anyone else. Is he really still a villain? By now, he even had a group of die-hard fans. Shin Haru felt a headache coming on just from reading it. She slowly realized that aside from herself, everyone seemed to like Agostic, even the ice cream vendor. But back then, Agostic had said something to her. "Don't ever show your real face in front of people like you did today." She could not help wondering, were the others right? And was she the only one who was wrong? Meanwhile, Kim Dane was still unconscious on the other side. Seoin blamed all of it on Stardust. And while she was still complaining, Kim Dane finally woke up. "Why do all of you look like someone died?" Seoin immediately hugged Kim Dane and burst into tears. Only then did he realize that he had been unconscious for 3 full days. The reason was simple. He had used teleportation and telekinesis far too many times in a row. With red eyes, Seoin told him that from now on he had to take better care of his body. Kim Dane never expected this girl to actually cry for him. "Looks like all those games I played with her worked for nothing." Lee Subin also could not help asking why he had been in such a hurry to deal with Crocodile Man. Anyone who did not know better would think he was a hero. Seoin followed up as well. He kept saying he was a villain, so why did he keep doing things like that? Kim Dane explained that if he had not stepped in back then, Stardust would have come forward herself, and that would have been truly dangerous. Once a hero exposed their real face, their personal information could be dug up. Then every villain who hated her, and every criminal who wanted heroes dead, would come after her. Seoin asked back, "And what does that have to do with us?" Kim Dane told her that the world they lived in had been built on an asymmetrical structure from the start. Because good and evil were never balanced, most superhumans did not choose to become heroes. They became villains instead. After all, heroes earned little, got targeted constantly, and were bullied by villains all the time. Of course, many people would choose the easier life of a villain. Just look at Korea's A-rank heroes. There are only Stardust, Shadow Walker, and Frostblade. But A-rank villains? There are too many to count. After hearing that, Seoin could not help teasing him. "So, bro, are you going to kill villains in place of the heroes? Isn't that just a dark hero?" Then she asked again, "But what does that have to do with us?" Kim Dane quickly explained that it had not gone that far. He was simply worried about Korea's future. Seoin narrowed her eyes and asked, "Bro, do you have feelings for that Stardust? Don't tell me this is because you like that woman." Kim Dane immediately corrected her. "Seoin, don't call her that woman. Be civilized." The atmosphere instantly became tense. Lee Subin hurriedly stepped in to smooth things over. "Seoin, didn't you say there was something you wanted to discuss with everyone?" Seoin finally remembered. "Right, summer is almost here, so let's go on a trip." Kim Dane said going on a trip was fine, but before that, they had to carry out one more criminal operation to lower everyone's favor toward him and raise Stardust's strength. After all, there was no guarantee another guy like Crocodile Man would not appear again. If Stardust had fought Crocodile Man directly back then, she definitely would have had a brutal battle. Seo-in grumbled, "So are we actually going on the trip or not?" After that, the two of them made a pinky promise. Only then did Seo-in go off to pack her luggage. As for the next criminal operation, Kim Dane had already thought of dozens of plans. The observation tower incident and the train incident had both taken place on land. So this time, they would choose either water or the sky. Kim Dane thought it over and over. Finally, he found his answer. He seemed to have just seen news about a plane falling from the sky. Seo-in and Kim Dane both let out a cold laugh at almost the same time. Not long after, inside a plane flying somewhere else, a group of passengers were chatting and laughing inside the cabin. But the next second, the cabin lights suddenly went out. At first, no one really cared. Some even thought the sky looked clearer with the lights off, making the trip feel even more atmospheric. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out. "Hello everyone, this is the greatest quiz show ever held at 25,000 feet in the air. Welcome to the self-show live stream." One of the passengers immediately questioned the flight attendant. "What is going on?" The voice over the broadcast continued. "There's a bomb installed on the plane you are currently on." The moment they heard that, the entire cabin instantly fell into chaos. Now then, let the game begin. Meanwhile, at the Korean Hero Association, Stardust had also received news of the hijacking. The president told her that even if she went there now, there was no guarantee she could stop it. Stardust slammed the table in anger. "Is that really something the president should be saying? I'm heading there right now." The president explained, "I never said you couldn't go." Then, a lazy voice came from nearby. "Daytime really is exhausting." The person who arrived was the A-rank hero Kim Jae-sun, also known as Shadow Walker. He told the president that once he reached the airport, he would have to get some sleep first, and in his current state, he could not fight anyway. The president reminded them not to push themselves too hard. After all, they could not save everyone. A flash of light passed, and the two of them instantly arrived at the airport. But the moment they got there, they saw something shocking. How are we supposed to stop that? Because a plane wrapped in flames was plunging straight down from the sky. And for Kim Dane, as the personal villain of a superhero, helping that hero grow was also an extremely important event. Many years ago, during the debut battle of a certain hero, a group of villains had gathered in one place. Among them was even an S-rank villain, Thousand Needles, and the one who arrived there alone was none other than the A-rank hero, Shadow Walker. His ability allowed him to transform into an unidentified liquid at night. Not only was he incredibly fast, but his attacks were powerful as well. At night, he was practically invincible. But once daytime came, he became a half-dead piece of trash. On Egostic's side, he already knew that Stardust had arrived. So he announced, "Next up is the final round of questions everyone has been waiting for." 30 minutes earlier, the quiz show on the plane had officially begun. He first explained the rules. "Everyone turn on your phones and turn off airplane mode. You should have all received a text message. There are 10 questions in total. If anyone answers all of them correctly, the bomb will be disarmed immediately. But if no one gets them all right, then you are out. Please send the correct answers to this number. From now on, no peeking at anyone else's answers. If you make a sound, you're out immediately." The first question was actually this: how many people could fit on a Titanic lifeboat? The woman who peeked just now was immediately eliminated because she made a sound. The middle-aged man beside her was eliminated as well. The spectators in the comments were stunned, saying this was terrifying. Who was the one who called Egostic a hero again? The answer to the first question was revealed. It was 9 people. As for why, because 9 sounds like save, a literal lifeboat. Seo-in could tell that Kim Dane really did enjoy this kind of twisted game. As time continued to pass, more and more people failed. The contest finally reached the last question, with only one person remaining, and Stardust was about to arrive at the scene. Egostic announced, "Before the highly anticipated final round begins, let's interview you first. One sentence from you can decide everyone's lives. Mr. Kim Duk-bae from Bangbae-dong, you are the final contestant. How do you feel right now?" Kim Duk-bae answered with a serious face. "I truly feel a heady sense of responsibility." But Egostic had already said earlier that no one was allowed to make a sound. So, all of you have failed. The plane is going down. This stage was now ready. And finally, it was time for the hero to appear. Stardust was completely stunned when she saw the scene. She immediately asked the president what she should do. But the president replied, "What else can you do? Give up. I'm busy writing a statement of condemnation right now. The president is calling again, so I'm hanging up." Last time, She had barely managed to stop a speeding train. But in this situation, what was she supposed to do? She thought back to the night her parents died. The night she decided to take revenge. At this moment, just like back then, it felt as if no one could be saved. Just then, a voice suddenly came through her earpiece. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kim Dane was still thinking that this criminal operation might be far too easy because it was being handled remotely. But Seo-in quickly noticed something was wrong. Why is that Stardust person just sitting there without moving? The moment Kim Dane saw it, his expression changed. What is Stardust doing? So-un, can you connect to Stardust's earpiece? Hurry, 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 we're out of time. And so, a familiar voice suddenly sounded in Stardust's earpiece. Hello, this is Agostic. Stardust immediately cursed. You piece of trash. Kim Dane said, nothing special, I'm just curious. Why aren't you saving them? The plane is about to crash, so what are you doing sitting there? Stardust shot back. You're the one making the plane crash. Why are you telling me to stop it? Kim Dane answered. Then who else is going to stop it? If that hunk of metal comes down, the people inside will be crushed into nothing. Stardust gritted her teeth and asked, is this your plan? Are you trying to force me to die? But Kim Dane told her firmly, you can do it. So you should stand up, clench your fists, push off with your legs, fly into the sky, and save everyone. If it's you, you can definitely do it. Because that's who you are, Stardust. Stardust had no idea what this lunatic was talking about. Kim Dane continued. How could I ever try to kill you? Without you, I would just be some ordinary villain anyone could find anywhere. You are the one who made me who I am. When Stardust heard that, she froze for a moment. She still suspected Agostic might be trying to do something with this opportunity. But this time, she decided to play along for now. Then, she launched herself toward the falling plane. If she simply watched those people die, she would live with that guilt for the rest of her life. And Kim Dane believed she could do it, because clearly, that was who Stardust was. The final contestant, Kim Dokbae, was breaking down, thinking he had killed everyone. If only he had focused a little harder at the end. But before long, everyone realized that the falling plane was slowing down, because Stardust was holding it up from below with sheer force. After that, under the flight attendant's guidance, all the passengers safely got off the plane. Only then did everyone realize that the one who had saved them was Stardust. A hero had protected them all. In the end, Stardust quietly murmured one name. Agostic. This plane crash incident shocked many countries. What kind of existence was the hero Stardust? Many countries had no choice but to admit that when it came to heroes, Korea was genuinely strong. In fact, the combined heroes of some countries might not even be able to defeat Korea. The morning news also reported that yesterday afternoon, the A-rank villain Agostic remotely seized control of a plane and caused it to crash. But by some miracle, every passenger on board was rescued safely. The one who stopped the fallen plane was none other than the hero Korea was proud of, Stardust. Many experts had originally predicted that with her abilities, there was no way she could stop the situation, especially because the plane had been falling far too fast. Of course, Shinharu saw the news as well. Just then, her phone rang. The voice on the other end said, come on, the association president even gave you a day off. Come see the ocean and relax a little. Shinharu had not gone out for fun in a long time, so she happily agreed and said they should leave tomorrow and that they should invite Kim Ja-sun too. But then she remembered what Agostic had said to her. You can definitely do it, because that's who you are. Shinharu knew that no one had ever believed in her like that before. And yet he was nothing more than a villain. So why had he told her to save the plane? If he knew she could stop it and save everyone on board, then why did he make the plane fall in the first place? Without you, I would just be some ordinary villain anyone could find anywhere. You are the one who made me who I am. There were still far too many questions surrounding Agostic, but for some reason, Shinharu felt that there had to be another purpose behind his actions. So she decided to investigate his movements during this period. Just then, she received another call from the Hero Association. The person on the phone informed her that her ability values needed to be measured again. On the other side, Seo-in was already so excited she could barely sit still. The day of the trip she had been waiting for had finally arrived. This was also Kim Dane's first real break since arriving in this world. Enjoying himself once in a while probably was not such a bad thing. But not long after they set off, they got stuck in traffic. To make things worse, the car's air conditioner had broken on the very day of the trip, and all of them were roasting inside. So-un could not help complaining. Bro, can't you just teleport with the whole car? Kim Dane immediately replied, the side effects would kill me on the spot. Let's solve this at a rest stop first. Seo-in grumbled that they should have just taken the train. Kim Dae-in rejected that right away because they had way too much luggage. Just then, Seo-in noticed something strange beside her. Those were not vacation supplies at all. They were firearms Kim Dae-in had prepared in advance. Kim Dae-in explained that no one knew what might happen on the road. So-in shouted on the spot, asking what kind of trip this was supposed to be, and then started making a scene inside the car. Not long after, the group finally arrived at the beach. Lee Subin thoughtfully bought drinks for everyone. With her face slightly red, she said, "I've always been really grateful to you." Kim Dae-in was confused. Grateful for what? Lee Subin answered seriously, "For everything. First, thank you for saving me. And thank you for always treating me so well." But Kim Dae-in said, "What are you talking about? I'm the one who should be thanking you. You handle the housework, and most importantly, your cooking is amazing." After hearing that, Lee Subin said softly, "Hearing you say that really makes me happy." But Kim Dae-in could not shake the feeling that this atmosphere was just like a death flag in a comic. Was she about to betray him? He even started wondering if something had been slipped into that drink. Meanwhile, at the Korean Hero Association, 2 staff members were discussing the results. "I don't think we measured it wrong. According to the data, she should not have been able to stop that plane." The other person said, "That's exactly why the data must be wrong. Did we fail to measure her true strength from the beginning?" But Stardust knew the ability test data had not been wrong. After stopping that seemingly impossible disaster, her strength had clearly increased. The staff members were shocked by what they were seeing. Back at the beach, Lee Subin handed Kim Dae-in another drink and said with a blush that she had always been grateful to him. Kim Dae-in thought she might really be about to betray him, so he forced himself to stay calm and said, "I'll be counting on you from now on too." So-in could not help complaining from the side. "Are you two just going to leave me here and flirt with each other? What a lovely sight." Lee Subin hurriedly denied it. "Flirt? It's not like that at all. Since this was a group trip, of course everyone should have fun together." After hearing that, Kim Dae-in picked So-in up. Then he threw her into the sea. Seo-in immediately shouted, "Water got in my nose." This was a rare moment of peace, and just like that, the 3 of them happily played by the sea. Meanwhile, somewhere else, someone asked, "Where is our unit attacking tonight?" The answer came back, "The Marriott Royal Hotel. This time, we're going big." And the place Kim Dae-in and the others had booked happened to be the Marriott Royal Hotel as well. Even more importantly, the room had been reserved under Han Seo-un's name, and they had only booked 1 room. Seo-un thought it was fine because it saved money. Besides, it was a giant bed, so wouldn't it be better if they all slept together? Lee Subin also said it had been a long time since 3 people slept together, so it sounded nice. Kim Dae-in quickly reminded her, "Don't say it like that. The 3 of us have never slept together before." That night, Kim Dae-in kept thinking that nothing bad would happen, right? It would be great if nothing actually happened. With a loud bang, the door was suddenly kicked open. Kim Dae-in immediately activated his telekinesis and knocked the 2 intruders unconscious. He frowned. What was wrong with these people? When he opened the door and looked outside, he saw a group of masked men herding the hotel guests around. Kim Dae-in was speechless. Had they seriously run into a criminal attack? How were they this unlucky every time they went on a trip? Even more ridiculous, how did these people dare to commit a crime at night, right under Shadow Walker's nose? He opened his phone and found out that the A-rank hero, Shadow Walker, had apparently been found unconscious in Incheon. So-un, woken up by the noise, asked what had happened. Kim Dae-in told her a criminal attack was happening inside the hotel. At this point, So-un was already used to things like this. Kim Dae-in told Seo-un to wake Subin up and wait in the room while he went to the parking lot. He really had not expected to run into something like this during a vacation. Then he teleported outside. If he did not deal with this, there was no way they could leave. He never thought he would actually have to use his emergency backup mask. Kim Dae-in let out a cold laugh. He wanted to see which bastard had dared to ruin his vacation. Then he used teleportation again to deliver earpieces to So-un and Lee Subin. Now they could begin. So-un was confused. Why did bro look so happy? At that moment, most of the hotel guests had already been gathered together. The leader of the group was the A-rank villain, Monkey Wrench. He ordered his men to contact the Hero Association immediately, saying they had hundreds of hostages. If the money was not transferred right away, he would slaughter every last hostage. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out. "This boring little terrorist act ends here." Kim Dae-in activated telekinesis. In an instant, he seized the weapons from the goons and took them all down. The hostages panicked at the sight. But that one move had also used up the telekinesis he had stored for several months. Right after that, he launched another attack at Monkey Wrench. But Monkey Wrench dodged it. Kim Dane mocked him coldly. So, this is the kind of trash mob you use to commit crimes. Monkey Wrench was so furious that he pulled out his weapon. With a bang, the bullet struck Kim Dane in the abdomen. Kim Dane forced himself to speak. You only had one bullet? Is that all you've got? In reality, the situation was already extremely dangerous. If he moved carelessly now, he would probably bleed out and die on the spot. His instincts were screaming at him to run immediately. Monkey Wrench had originally planned to take advantage of Shadow Walker's absence, grab a quick fortune, and escape. But he soon guessed that the man in front of him was Egostic. Was he also on Egostic's list of villains to kill? Was that why Egostic had been hiding here? Kim Dane noticed his hesitation and said, Monkey Wrench, you look nervous. I'll give you a chance to run. Monkey Wrench angrily demanded. What kind of scheme are you plotting? Kim Dane asked back. Scheme? Is that the only thing your brain can think about? You've completely ruined my vacation. So you'd better stop annoying me and get lost while I'm still kind enough to warn you. But inside, he was desperately praying. Stop thinking and leave already. He was so dizzy that he could barely keep his eyes open. Monkey Wrench finally reached a conclusion. This was his chance. As long as he survived, he could always rise again. One day, he, Monkey Wrench, would become the king of Korea. He could not die in a place like this. The next second, he turned into a streak of light and shot out of the hotel. Just then, a fist suddenly swung toward Monkey Wrench. With a single punch, he was sent flying right back. The person who arrived was, of course, Stardust. She said coldly, "You're surrounded. Drop your weapons and surrender, Monkey Wrench gang." But when she finally looked around, she realized that all of them were already lying on the ground. Right after that, the A-rank hero Frostblade also arrived. Looking at the mess, he could not help commenting, "Impressive. You spread one fake news story about Shadow Walker passing out, and then you actually came out to commit a crime?" Then the A-rank hero Shadow Walker arrived as well. But the next second, all of their eyes landed on Kim Dane, who could barely move. Kim Dane could not understand why these people had all come from this direction. Stardust asked cautiously, "Who are you? Are you the one who suppressed this criminal attack?" Kim Dane knew that if he lost focus for even a moment, he might actually die here. Fortunately, they did not seem to know he was Egostic yet. For now, he just had to stall until his body recovered enough to teleport twice. So he forced himself to act calm and said, "Who am I, you ask? I'm an S-rank hero who secretly operates in Korea while hiding my identity." The moment they heard that, the three A-rank heroes clearly did not believe a single word. Frostblade frowned. "The association has no records of any S-rank hero. What nonsense are you talking about? Who are you really?" Kim Dane immediately shot back. "A-rank hero Stardust. Do you not understand what secret operations mean?" Then he looked toward Frostblade and Shadow Walker. "I'm a hero who was active in the generation before yours." In his earpiece, Lee Subin and Soeun had no idea what Kim Dane was trying to do. But Kim Dane kept putting on an act. "When you meet a senior, aren't you supposed to greet him first? How rude." Stardust stared at him with an unconvinced expression. Kim Dane looked at her face and continued, "Judging from that expression, you clearly don't understand what I just meant. Fine, then I'll tell you. Listen carefully. I am a hero." Just then, he happened to notice a child nearby with pineapple and mango patterns. So Kim Dane forced himself to say, "I am the hero, Apple Mango." The crowd nearby immediately started muttering about how lame that name was. At that moment, Frostblade also checked with the president, and the association really did not know anyone named Apple Mango. Frostblade pressed him again. "There is no hero with that name. Who are you?" Kim Dane kept forcing himself to hold on. "You rude brats. I know your association president's real name used to be Park Man-chun. He only changed it to Park Junho because he thought the old name sounded too tacky. Go confirm it if you don't believe me." Everyone was shocked when they heard that. Even Kim Dane had not expected information from the original game to come in handy at a time like this. But soon, Frostblade said, "Our president says he doesn't know you." Someone in the crowd could not take it anymore and spoke up. "Heroes, that masked guy took down all the criminals here. Does it really matter that much who he is?" Kim Dane was so moved he almost cried. "Sir, you are amazing. As long as he recovered just a little more stamina, he could escape." But the same man continued, and he controlled weapons in the air to take down those bad guys. I think he's that guy from TV, the one called Ego something. The moment Stardust heard that, she immediately looked toward Kim Dane. Kim Dane could only pray in his heart, "Sir, please stop talking." Stardust narrowed her eyes. "No wonder I thought you were suspicious from the start. We'll capture you first, then confirm your true identity." Kim Dane prayed desperately in his mind. Just a little more time, just a little. Just then, Frostblade was the first to activate his ice ability and attack Kim Dane. Shadow Walker also moved behind him in an instant. Even Stardust charged at him from the front. But at that moment, Kim Dane's body still could not move. The injured Kim Dane was surrounded and attacked by 3 superheroes at once. At the final moment, a little of his stamina finally returned, and he immediately used teleportation. The next second, he brought Soun and Lee Subin back to the car with him. Kim Dane immediately said, "Son, delete every record of our activity here right now, including the hotel entry list and security footage. If we get exposed, we're in trouble." At this point, Kim Dane had completely run out of strength. If he teleported to a hospital, he would definitely be caught, so they had to return to the base immediately. As Lee Subin drove, she ordered So-eun to take out the first aid kit and give Kim Dane emergency treatment. Se-eun was clearly panicking, since this was her first time dealing with something like this. Lee Subin could only urge her to hurry. Right now, they had to leave this place immediately. Back at the hotel, Frostblade could not help complaining. "Seriously, it's my rare day off. Why won't these damn villains let people rest for even one day?" Shadow Walker said he was going back to sleep first. Kim Chae-hyun blamed herself. "This only happened because I dragged you all out for a drive." But Shadow Walker replied, "Even without you, she would have come anyway, right, Stardust?" Meanwhile, Lee Subin was driving like a maniac, flooring the accelerator until the car hit 220. The drivers nearby were all scared out of their minds. And Stardust decided that she had to investigate Egostic properly. One day, in his previous life, 19-year-old Kim Dane was reading the comic Stardust. The author tortured Stardust in every possible way, and somehow the story still ended just like that. That comic had pushed the useless protagonist formula to the absolute extreme. Before he knew it, Kim Dane fell asleep while reading. Then a brilliant light suddenly shone in the sky. Back in the recovery chamber of the secret base, Kim Dane was lying inside. So-eun stood beside him, her face filled with exhaustion. Lee Subin brought food over, but So-eun did not seem to have any appetite at all. The moment she saw Kim Dane like that, she could not stop herself from tearing up again. But just as So-eun was about to force herself to eat something, Kim Dane's weak voice suddenly sounded. "My dear So-eun, you can still eat right now? Your bro is about to die." It turned out that Kim Dane had woken up. So-eun immediately burst into tears. After that, the two of them went to another round of tiny angry punches and complaints. Meanwhile, the internet began debating whether a criminal operation with no casualties could really be called a crime. Shinharu knew very well that if she had not received Agostic's call, and if he had not pushed her to step forward, she would never have been able to stop that disaster. He seemed to have known in advance that her strength had increased. But how did he know? Maybe it was just a coincidence, but the fact that she had become stronger was real. There was also another suspicious point. The villains Agostic had killed were almost all ability users who could someday cause massive disasters, no matter how she looked at it. Agostic was not a hero. But he was not a simple villain either. He was definitely playing a much bigger game. So during his next criminal operation, she had to expose his true identity. If that was the case, what was the real purpose behind Agostic's terrorist acts? And he even knew that Hero Association President Park Junho's real name was Park Manchun. Could Agostic really have been an S-rank hero in the past, who became a villain after clashing with the association? While the three of them were eating, Se-eun read the online rumors aloud. The conspiracy theory that Agostic had once clashed with the Hero Association was spreading fast, and Kim Diane felt terrible listening to it. Even Lee Subin told Se-eun to stop bullying him for now. Se-eun questioned Kim Dane. "So what are you planning to do now? Are you going to keep shouting that you're a villain and carry out more criminal operations? With your body like this, do you still think you can do that?" Kim Dane explained that he really needed to rest now for at least 3 months. Only after hearing that did Se-eun and Lee Subin finally relax. Kim Dane said, "I'm going into hiding for a while. Once I disappear, the audience's interest in me will naturally fade. And during this break, we'll recruit a new member. That person was the only healing ability user in the original Stardust. If left alone, she would eventually become a balance-breaking villain. Since Kim Dane did not plan to kill her, he had no choice but to bring her over to his side. 3 months later, one day, a villain suddenly appeared, and Stardust prepared to move out. The first thing she asked was, "Is it egoistic?" The answer was, "No. That villain calls himself Low Point." No one knows what egoistic has been doing for the past 3 months. At that very moment, Kim Dane was watching Stardust fight the villain and shouting excitedly, "Go, Stardust!" Without question, the villain Low Point was beaten badly. After her power-up, Stardust really had become stronger. So-eun glared at him and asked, "Is this really that entertaining? We need to start working. I can't stand watching you go in and out of Stardust's fan form every single day anymore." Kim Dane immediately played dumb. "What are you talking about, So-eun?" Se-eun said coldly. "Kim Dane, leader of the Stardust crew. Did you think I didn't know? I'm a hacker." Kim Dane quickly explained that it was just a little hobby. Now, their new operation was about to begin, and that operation was recruiting a new member. At that moment, somewhere else, 2 pedestrians were enjoying the scenery. A young woman passed by and deliberately bumped into one of them. On the surface, she politely apologized. But, in reality, she had already stolen the person's wallet. And a group of people had been watching her the entire time. Just then, her 13-year-old younger brother, Lee Chae-yoon, ran over. When she realized her brother was injured, she immediately used her ability to heal his wound. Then she gently said, "You go home first. I'll buy you something good to eat." This girl was Lee Ha-yul, the one who would eventually become the villain ex-saint. But when she returned home, a group of people was already waiting for her. The leader sneered, "Cutie, I knew this would happen." This group was the gangster crew known as Swamp Dogs. "Didn't we tell you before? If you steal on our turf and dare to hide it from us, we'll kill you." Lee Ha-yul immediately ordered them to let her brother go. But the man mocked her. "Looks like your sister still doesn't know her place. Today we'll teach her exactly how weak she is." As he spoke, he prepared to bring the knife down, but in the next second, a powerful impact sent the blade flying. The other gang members were also struck by invisible attacks, one after another. More than a dozen weapons were already aimed at them. Lee Ha-yul took the chance to rescue her brother. Today was the 17th, and it was also Friday. According to the original story, today was supposed to be the day her younger brother Chae-yoon died at the hands of the gangsters. From that day on, Lee Ha-yul would completely snap and walk the path of a villain. If Kim Dane had arrived even one step later, things would have gone terribly wrong. Lee Ha-yul also noticed someone had arrived and quickly shielded her brother behind her. Kim Dane said, "Ha-yul, Chae-yoon, hello. I'm here to pick you up." Lee Ha-yul asked warily, "Why would you come to pick us up? You're clearly a vicious villain too." Kim Dane answered, "Why else? I'm here to save you. Isn't that obvious? More importantly, it'll be troublesome if someone else shows up." But Lee Ha-yul gritted her teeth and said she would not go with him, even if it killed her. He was a villain after all. Who knew what he might do? But her younger brother Chae-yoon had already run over on his own. He shouted excitedly, "Egoistic, I'm actually a member of the Manga crew too." Kim Dane had not expected things to turn out like this. A while later, he brought the siblings back to the base and said to everyone, "These are our new members. Say hello." Lee Ha-yul said nervously, "Hello. My name is Lee Ha-yul, and this is my younger brother, Lee Chae-yoon." So-eun also noticed that the new member was not only a healing ability user, but also a girl. After that, inside the base, Se-eun could tell that Lee Ha-yul was still extremely guarded around them. She looked exactly like Se-eun had when she first met Bro. The next second, So-eun noticed that Kim Dane was drinking straight from the bottle again. She immediately shouted, "I told you not to drink straight from the bottle." Kim Dane quickly explained, "This is my mango juice. Yours is in the fridge." Lee Ha-yul still looked extremely nervous. So, Kim Dane asked So-eun and Lee Subin to step outside for a while, saying he needed to talk to Lee Ha-yul alone. Before leaving, Se-eun playfully stuck her tongue out at him. Soon, only Kim Dane and the 2 siblings were left in the room. Kim Dane looked at Lee Ha-yul and said directly, "You ran away after killing the orphanage director, didn't you?" "I investigated it. That director had been abusing both of you. So no, I did not come looking for you by coincidence. I came to find you for a reason. I want you two to live happily here. Of course, I don't mean in this underground base. I've already installed a portal and will be moving into a big house soon. We'll live there together, and both of you will be able to go to school." Lee Ha-yul could not understand why he was being so kind to her. They had only met today, but Kim Dane said, "It's because I have a younger sister about your age. That's why I'm doing this." Lee Cha-yoon excitedly said that he had watched all of the Mango crew's criminal activities, and more than once. Kim Dane smiled and said, "So let's live together. It'll definitely be fun. We're not as bad as you think." Then Kim Dane brought the siblings over to the portal. Lee Ha-yul was still wary, but since her brother had already followed him, she had no choice but to go along. Kim Dane asked, "Do you like it here? This is the house we'll be living in from now on." Cha-yoon seems pretty happy with it. "I live on the 3rd floor, and I arranged 2 rooms for you on the 2nd floor. You can stay there. Don't worry about tuition. You're at the age where you should be studying, and I happen to be insanely rich. If you don't know what to do yet, stay here for a few days and think it over. You can back out anytime." Lee Ha-yul thought about the gangsters from before and realized she did not dare go back anyway. And since her younger brother seemed to like this place too, she finally had no choice but to agree. Kim Dane smiled and said, "Then stay here. From now on, let's get along." He had successfully recruited the healing ability user, but Kim Dane felt like he had forgotten something again. What was it? Meanwhile, Shinharu was still reading news on the forum. Was Egostick really dead? This was getting ridiculous. It had been almost 4 months. Hurry up and come back. Where did he go? Why was he not showing up? Did he really retire? Shinharu also wanted to know where Egostick was and what he was doing. At the same time, somewhere else, someone said quietly, "When Dr. Kim Sun-woo gets out of prison, we must make sure he sees this project completed with his own eyes. When that time comes, all of Korea will kneel beneath Hanun Group's feet. No one can stop us anymore." A group of mad scientists burst into wild laughter. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lee Ha-yul and Lee Soo-bin were cooking in the kitchen. Lee Ha-yul also knew that Lee Soo-bin was the criminal who had once been kidnapped by Egostick. 4 months had already passed since that incident, and unlike all the wild rumors back then, Lee Soo-bin was now living happily. Kim Dane, the true identity behind Egostick, had even moved everyone to a house with better sunlight. Kim Dane could not help complaining. "So-un, why are you still going underground to sleep? And here I thought you used to call that place the ego base." Lee Ha-yul also knew very well that if Kim Dane ever came back injured one day, she would have to use her healing ability to help him. They were almost at the point where they needed to prepare for the black disaster created by Hanun Group. The time was nearly here. Just then, Seo-in rushed in. "Mango Stick, so you were hiding here. Let's start doing some criminal activities already. I'm dying of boredom." Kim Dane also knew that the time had come, so he gathered everyone together. Lee Ha-yul asked in confusion, "Why do we have to do criminal activities?" That question instantly stumped all 3 of them. Since she was asking why they had to commit crimes, technically, they really should give her a proper answer. Seo-in urged him, "Old man, hurry up and get to the point." Kim Dane froze on the spot. "You don't call me bro anymore? Now I'm old man?" Kim Dane looked at Lee Ha-yul and said seriously, "Ha-yul, the truth is, we're villains, so of course we have to commit crimes." Seo-in added, "But our operations absolutely do not hurt ordinary people. To maintain Egostick's image, we sometimes have to put on a show, sometimes create impossible dilemmas, and sometimes get tangled up with Stardust. Basically, we do terrorist acts that end up benefiting that woman." In short, the name of this criminal operation was Bridge Collapse, because on Yoido, a giant monster would appear this winter. After that, the monster would head north and rampage across the entire peninsula. But if they destroyed the bridge in advance through a criminal operation, the monster would fall straight into the water, and that monster's weakness happened to be water. Once it fell in, it would die. That way, they could carry out a criminal operation and take down a villain at the same time. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone in the most perfect way. Seo-in really could not understand where Kim Dane kept getting this information. Kim Dane only answered mysteriously that it was, of course, a business secret. This time, they could take down a villain and carry out a criminal operation, and it did not seem to be for Stardust either. Once Seo-in realized that, she immediately became happy and asked, "So have you decided what style we're going with this time?" Kim Dane answered, "This time, we're going with money." Not long after, the live stream started again, and the comments instantly exploded with cheers. "Mango Stick is back," Kim Dane announced to the camera. "I, Egostick, have returned. You all should know what I'm about to do next, right? What can I do on a bridge? Blow it up, of course." The civilians on the bridge quickly realized that a criminal operation had begun. With a thunderous boom, both ends of the bridge were instantly sealed off. Kim Dane looked into the camera and said, "Everyone, you can stop whatever you're doing. The guest participants for this game are already in place. The players in this game are all the good citizens across the nation watching this live stream. In other words, all of you. The method is simple. Send your account number to the website shown in the video, and you will immediately receive 100,000 won. This event ends at 7 o'clock tonight. But if more than 500,000 people take the money, I will blow up this bridge and everyone trapped on it. Now, make your choice. Free 100,000 won, or this bridge gets blown up. The nationwide choice between 100,000 won and the bridge officially began. Finally, Kim Dane added one more line on purpose. And Stardust, you don't need to come today. Get some rest. The comments immediately started teasing him. My woman is mine to protect. Mango Stick, the sweetheart villain, making sure Stardust gets her rest. Even as you tell her not to come, she'll come anyway. She's a hero after all. Not long after, a figure rushed over from the distance. Sure enough, Stardust had come. Kim Dane was so startled that he almost dropped the detonator. He could only force himself to stay calm and greet her. Stardust, long time no see. But this time, Stardust just glared at him fiercely. Kim Dane immediately wondered what was going on, but she simply stared at him without saying a single word. Meanwhile, somewhere else, an office worker was happily looking at his phone. He excitedly told his department head, "Sir, look. Apparently if you enter your account number here, you get 100,000 won. If more than 500,000 people claim it, the bridge explodes. They say this is Egostic's criminal operation." The department head frowned. But who would actually take money like that? The employee immediately answered, "I just claimed 100,000 won. The department head questioned him on the spot. "How could you do something like that?" The employee quickly apologized. "Actually, I claimed it the moment I got the news." The next second, he realized something and said, "As expected of you, sir. Your acting is incredible." Some people even called their mothers at home to ask for account numbers, saying they wanted to send them some pocket money. And to their surprise, the money really arrived. Back on the bridge, Kim Dane had not expected the citizens to be this cold about it. Even worse, Stardust's gaze was burning into him. Was she planning to wait until he blew up the bridge before acting? Why was she just staring at him? Did the original story have some bridge-related memory that had never been shown? He really had not expected her to be this angry. He felt a little bad for her, but there was no helping it. All of this was for Stardust. If the Black Disaster appeared exactly as it did in the original story, the current Stardust would not be able to stop it. The Black Disaster was the first truly tragic event in the original story. From that incident onward, the comic stopped being like other casual hero stories and became extremely dark. Kim Dane checked his phone. In the 100,000 won versus Seoul Bridge event, 450,000 people had already taken the money, and there were still 3 hours left. The people of this world really were not normal. Even if he did nothing, he was almost guaranteed to win. Kim Dane even found himself hoping he would lose this time. So he turned the live stream back on and said, "Good citizens of Korea, I didn't expect you to actually take the 100,000 won. You may have forgotten, but because of certain heartless people, the guests who may be sacrificed at any moment are no longer under my control." Kim Dane wondered if the people sitting inside the cars were going to be weird again. So he interviewed one of the civilians. "Thank you for your time. Please introduce yourself." The man answered, "Hello everyone. My name is Choi Young-jin." Kim Dane asked, "Mr. Choi Young-jin, you are currently in a life-threatening situation. Do you feel anxious or nervous?" Choi Young-jin laughed on the spot. "What's there to be nervous about? As long as the viewers watching the live stream don't take the money, the bridge and I are safe, right? I can only apologize to you on their behalf." After that, many people who had already taken the 100,000 won started apologizing in the comments, while others began hesitating over whether to claim it. Kim Dane could only say, "Thank you for believing in the conscience of Korea's citizens." He asked again, "Mr. Young-jin, do you really believe what Korea's citizens say? Do you have any final words?" Choi Young-jin said seriously, "Go, Korea. I believe in all of you." Stardust could not understand what Agostic was scheming this time. Kim Dane, on the other hand, was so exhausted that he nearly collapsed. He only hoped this interview would produce at least one normal reaction. But the moment he opened the window of another car, he heard a roar from inside. "It's Mango Stick." The people in the car went crazy. "He's so handsome in person. We should buy lottery tickets later. Wait, if we die here today, we won't be able to buy them, right?" They all looked ridiculously excited. "Mango Stick, we're your die-hard fans. But are you really going to kill us? You say that every time, but you always let everyone go in the end." Kim Dane felt his mind going blank and could only stiffly announce that the interview was over. Then, those civilians even asked Kim Dane for autographs. Kim Dane had not expected to sign 4 autographs in a row. The comments were all saying they could no longer tell who the victims were supposed to be. In the end, they happily added, "Thanks for the 100,000 won. We got 400,000 in total. We're going to eat malaton later. If we die here today, we won't be able to eat it, right?" Kim Dane silently swore that he would never interview civilians again. This criminal operation was completely ruined. Kim Dane said quietly, "Soen, you can start the live stream. Everyone, the 7 o'clock deadline we agreed on has arrived. The nationwide participation crime event, 100,000 won versus the bridge. It's time to reveal the results." In the comments, some people insisted the number definitely would not reach 500,000. Others were apologizing to Youngjin, while some were yelling about how they were supposed to get to work if the bridge got destroyed. Kim Dane announced with a cold laugh. And the answer is, of course, that 500,000 people took the 100,000 won. The citizens of Korea truly are remarkable. Now then, please enjoy the final fireworks prepared for your selfishness. With a thunderous boom, the bridge began to explode. Stardust knew that in the end, this man had still done it. Kim Dane looked into the camera and said, "And with that, I, Egostic, take my leave." The sound of explosions swept across the entire bridge. Because Kim Dane had been floating in the air for too long, his stamina was already reaching its limit. He had planned to watch Stardust save everyone one last time, then leave immediately. But the final car was still just a little too far away. At this rate, Stardust would not be able to grab it. So Kim Dane activated telekinesis again. He forced the falling car forward by a short distance. That finally allowed Stardust to save it successfully. Thank goodness, they were saved. But the next second, Kim Dane's head spun violently. His entire body began falling from the sky. At the last possible moment, he forced himself to use teleportation and return to their home. So-eun and Lee Soo-bin immediately rushed over. Kim Dane had suffered serious injuries once again. When Lee Soo-bin saw him like that, she burst into tears on the spot. This injury was severe too, and with Lee Ha-yeol still outside, they had no idea what to do right away. On the other side, Stardust was still thinking about Egostic. She began analyzing every criminal operation he had carried out so far. He had even warned her not to show her real face in front of others. If he had not encouraged her back then, she never would have stepped forward. But whenever she heard his voice, it felt as if strength filled her again. He seemed to understand everything about her. "You can definitely do it, so stand up and save them." He was clearly the one committing crimes, yet he had disappeared for a long time. She had so many things she wanted to ask him. "Are you really a villain? Are you really a bad person? Egostic, who exactly are you?" But because of that strange feeling she could not explain, she ended up unable to ask a single word. And during the criminal operation just now, the one who used his power at the final moment to save that car was Egostic too. The 4 people in the car had no idea they had actually almost been killed. Stardust understood Egostic less and less. Just then, a voice suddenly came from behind her. "Why are you standing here getting all sentimental by yourself? This criminal operation had 0 casualties too. My cute Haru." The person who arrived was the A-rank hero Frostblade, Lee Sola. Shin Haru said quietly, "Thanks for coming." Lee Sola sighed. Being able to enjoy a normal, peaceful day like this really is nice. Then she asked Shin Haru, "You're already off work, so why are you still working? Is this because of Egostic again? Stop thinking so much for now. You have no idea how happy the president actually is about the lower crime rate, even if he doesn't say it out loud." After watching this criminal operation, Shin Haru shared her thoughts. She felt that Egostic might not be simply tormenting her. He might not even be a bad person. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kim Dane was still lying inside the recovery chamber, and Lee Ha-yeol came to see him. She was wondering whether helping this man was really the right choice. He did look like a good person. But what if one day he became like those people and started coveting her ability? This man knew nothing about her, yet he had still saved both her and Cha-yun. After struggling with the decision, Lee Ha-yeol ultimately chose to help Kim Dane. It seemed the plan to recruit a healer had succeeded. Shin Haru continued explaining to Lee Sela that it was strange how Egostic's criminal operations had never harmed ordinary people. The ones he killed were basically all villains. And during the bridge incident, he had also been the one who saved that final car. After hearing that, Lee Sola could not help teasing her. "Oh my god, Haru, don't tell me you actually believe that conspiracy theory about Egostic being the dark S-rank hero Apple Mango. Come on, tell me, what's your Mango Crew fan ID?" Shin Haru immediately insisted, I don't have anything like that. Lee Sola admitted that, just like Shinharu said, there really were strange things about Egostic, but he was also clearly trying very hard to do bad things. There had been no casualties so far, but that only applied to ordinary people. So for now, she should just treat him as that type of villain. Still, Shinharu believed that everything Egostic had done was for some distant future. She just did not know what that future was yet. Lee Sol-ah cut her off helplessly. Miss Workaholic Shinharu, stop talking about that weird hat villain already. Do you have any man you like lately? You should meet some men when you're resting too. Shinharu shot back. You've been single since birth. Since when are you an expert on men? Lee Sola hurriedly explained that it was only because her family had always strictly controlled her private life, not because she could not find a man. The A-rank hero Lee Sola, also known as Frostblade, was actually the heir to Korea's major corporation, Meteor. Seeing how flustered she looked, Shinharu found her strangely adorable. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the S-rank villain Kim Sun-woo was finally released from prison. He was also the technical advisor and lead scientist of Haenan Group. The moment he came out, he questioned how the plan was progressing. His subordinate answered, "It is currently at 56%. The project is expected to be completed around next September." Kim Sun-woo said coldly, "Too slow. It must be completed before the end of this winter. Everything in Korea will be trampled beneath the feet of Dr. Kim Sun-woo." At the same time, the news reported that Dr. Kim Sun-woo, who had been imprisoned on suspicion of concealing unethical experiments, was released at 7 o'clock today and had rejoined Haenan Group's front line. The player had entered the stage, and the plan was finally about to begin. Not long ago, exactly 3 months later, winter snow finally began to fall. The group spent their time outside in complete relaxation. They even started a snowball fight. Kim Dane went as far as using telekinesis. Selwyn immediately cursed, "Mango Stick, you're playing dirty." But Kim Dane still wrapped her up inside a giant snowball. After that, the group prepared to go eat snacks. Just as Kim Dane was happily eating, Seo-in suddenly launched a sneak attack on him from the side. And just like that, 3 months passed. The group peacefully made it through the entire winter downtime. Kim Dane had considered carrying out another criminal operation during that time. But the current Stardust was already stronger than she had been at this point in the original story, so there was no need to keep pushing her growth for now. Another thing had changed as well. At some point, Ha-yeol's expression had become much brighter. It meant she had finally opened her heart to everyone. As for the public's opinion of Egostic, that had changed too. Many people began blaming him for the collapse of the bridge. Because of that incident, Egostic's image finally fell completely into the gutter. The people who had taken the money also pushed all of their moral responsibility onto Egostic. They claimed that everything happened because Egostic had created those bizarre conditions, causing the criminal operation in the first place. He had incited everyone else, then called them accomplices. But Kim Dane did not care. After all, this was exactly the kind of villain he had wanted to become. For now, all he had to do was wait for the Black Disaster to arrive. And those happy days continued. Every single day felt peaceful and joyful. Not long after, somewhere else, a massive explosion suddenly erupted. Dr. Kim Sun-woo could not believe this had happened. Where exactly had things gone wrong? But right now, the most urgent thing was to escape. The problem was that he could not bring himself to abandon the research he had devoted his entire life to. The Behemoth was supposed to be only a sample test subject. How did it develop self-awareness? Meanwhile, the Hero Association also received an emergency report. Stardust immediately rushed over. A terrifying monster had appeared out of nowhere, putting civilians in danger. And that monster was charging straight toward the city. Stardust prepared to deploy immediately, but the president told her to calm down. How is she supposed to handle a monster that huge by herself? Stardust replied, "Even if there's no way, I still have to find one. President, you can just sit there and eat popcorn while watching." But to everyone's surprise, the very next second, something went wrong with the monster on its own. With one huge leap, it jumped straight into the sea and died on the spot. For a moment, neither of them could process what had just happened. The president could only tell Stardust to submit a report tomorrow. And at that moment, Kim Dane was eating popcorn while watching the whole show. Poor Shinharu was still stuck writing the report. That night, Kim Dane started browsing the forum. Everyone was discussing the same question. Was Egostic really still a villain? The life form known as the Black Disaster already seemed to possess a certain level of intelligence. If it gained full intelligence, it might even evolve in another direction. If that happened, even 2 or 3 S-rank heroes together could end up fighting it for an entire day. And even then, their odds of winning would not be high. If the Black Disaster fully gained intelligence during that time and learned to avoid its weakness, water, then every hero in Korea could end up dead. Beneath the post, over 1,000 people were already praising Mango Stick. Shin Haru finally understood. So that was it. If Igostic had not destroyed the bridge in advance, Korea really might not have had anyone capable of stopping that monster. But no matter what, he was still a villain. The next day, the news reported that, according to the investigation, the experiment conducted by Hanwha Group, one of the country's leading corporations, had caused the Black Disaster incident. The revelation sent shockwaves across the nation. Hanwha Group went bankrupt overnight, and now not a single person in charge could be found. The chairman of Hanwha Group, Dr. Kim Sun-woo, the chief director of the Black Disaster experiment, and the related researchers had all mysteriously disappeared. Kim, Dane, and the others were watching the news as well. Lee Ha-yul said coldly that those people deserved it. Seon went even further, saying they should kill every last one of the people who escaped, dig up their graves, whip their corpses, and wipe out 3 generations of their families. But Kim Dane told them that before long, those people would crawl back out on their own. More importantly, he told everyone to come over after dinner. So-eun immediately guessed that he was planning something again. Then, Kim Dane took out a map. This was the underground laboratory of Hanwha Group, and inside it, there was something extremely powerful. Behemoth was the ultimate weapon born from Hanwha Group's illegal experiments to create a monster army. It could block Shadow Walker's ability, and even withstand a nuclear blast. It was a life form made from a miraculous substance, and the Black Disaster's body had been created using Behemoth's model. If it were completed successfully, its power would be terrifying beyond imagination. After hearing that, everyone's expressions turned strange. Se-eun could not help complaining. So this time it's another superpowered monster army. Is it time for you to destroy your body again? Have you been living too comfortably lately? Lee Subin joined in. 2 more holes in your stomach would probably look pretty cool. Seoin added, want a couple of holes in our ears too, while we're at it? The next second, Seoin and Lee Subin charged straight at Kim Dayan. Kim Dane quickly explained that in the original story, the Hero Association had not taken any follow-up action, so it should probably be fine. Meanwhile, the Korean Hero Association also discovered multiple biological reactions inside Hanwha Group's underground laboratory. It seemed the monsters Hanwha Group had been researching were still alive. Shadow Walker had tried to approach the lab last night, but he had been blocked by wavelengths released from some kind of black substance. His shadows could not get close, so the association could not provide effective support for now. The president asked, "Are you still going, Stardust?" Stardust still chose to go. The operation to explore Hanwha Group's underground laboratory officially began. Outside, Kim Dane was also ready to move. This was an unplanned exploration, so of course, he was a little nervous. So, said to the earpiece, "If you're scared, you can still come back now." Kim Dane immediately acted tough. A real man would never be afraid of monsters. But in the end, Seoin and Lee Subin still seriously reminded him to be careful. As usual, Kim Dane started a live stream. This is the underground facility of Hanwha Group, the place that created that terrifying disaster. What exactly did they do here? Since everyone is dying to know, let's go in and find out together. At that moment, the association had already lost contact with Stardust, and then they discovered that Igostic had gone in too. The president roared on the spot. Who does this guy think he is? Why did he go in too? Then, he immediately ordered his aide, go get popcorn, half caramel, half salted. The underground laboratory was pitch black. Kim Dane spoke to the camera. What exactly did those gloomy bastards do down here? The viewers watching the live stream were also pulled into the atmosphere, saying the place was seriously terrifying and that even the air felt wrong. Kim Dane forced himself to stay calm. I'm the man who makes all of Korea tremble. How could I possibly be scared? But the next second, a sudden noise startled him so badly that he immediately activated telekinesis. When he looked closely, he realized it was only a small cat. The cat even looked harmless. But the problem was, why would there be a cat in a place like this? Things were getting stranger and stranger. The next second, the cat suddenly transformed into a monster. And it was a monster with countless arms. Stardust, who was elsewhere in the facility, also heard the gunfire. Kim Dane could not help regretting it. He should have listened to Seoin and stayed out. Training his telekinesis at home would have been much better. But with the monster already charging toward him, regret was useless now. In that case, no matter what, he had to take Behemoth out of this place. So, Kim Dane immediately used telekinesis to control his weapons and opened fire on the monster. After a cloud of smoke cleared, the monster had vanished. Kim Dane had no idea how deep this place went. In the chaos just now, he had even lost his camera and weapons. To make things worse, the signal here was terrible. He could not even contact Siyuin. At this point, Kim Dane was genuinely starting to get scared. Just then, with a thunderous boom, someone smashed straight through the wall. That familiar feeling made Kim Dane realize it right away. Could it be Stardust? And Stardust also discovered Egostic at the same time. The two of them immediately took fighting stances and questioned each other at the same time. "Why are you here?" Stardust said coldly. "I'm a hero. Isn't it normal for me to come handle something like this?" Kim Dane thought about it and realized she had a point. There was nothing wrong with that answer. But for Stardust, this was an unexpected game. Kim Dane had not even processed the situation yet before he found himself distracted by Stardust's smile. Stardust said, "If you let me capture you quietly, I won't make it hurt too much." At the critical moment, Kim Dane still managed to dodge her attack with teleportation. He quickly shouted, "Wait, stop for a second. I know that in your eyes, I'm just a villain, but look around first. This place may be extremely dangerous. You still don't know what kind of place this is, do you? Since things have turned out like this, how about we work together until we reach the deepest level?" Stardust immediately questioned him. "Why did you come here?" Kim Dane answered, "Simple curiosity. They created a disaster that terrifying, so maybe they made something else down here too." After thinking for a moment, Stardust agreed to cooperate. After all, handling these monsters alone would be difficult. And since Agostic had shown up anyway, she might as well make him help. Kim Dane had not expected his casual suggestion to actually work. Stardust also knew that if she tried to forcefully capture Agostic now, he would probably escape again. It would be better to keep him beside her for the moment. Maybe the questions she had always had about him could finally be answered this time. But the moment they entered the room, Kim Dane started wandering around and looking everywhere. Stardust got so angry that she threw a punch at him. "You're a villain. Why are you snooping around? This is all classified." That almost gave Kim Dane a heart attack. Still, just the thought of acting together with Stardust made him secretly happy. Stardust, meanwhile, began searching for the right direction based on instinct. Kim Dane watched her find the path on her own and could not help being surprised. Had she already developed a certain level of extrasensory perception this quickly? After that, the two arrived at a room labeled Supernormal Ability Suppression Room. Stardust told Kim Dane to go in first. Faced with her physical pressure, Kim Dane could only agree, thinking that he had completely become a lab rat. After entering, he immediately realized that he really could not use telekinesis, and teleportation had also stopped working. A moment later, Stardust also walked in. She punched the wall. She had only done it to confirm whether the room really suppressed abilities, and it turned out to be true. Kim Dane could not help saying, "I may be a villain, but I wouldn't lie about something like this." But inside, he was shocked. Was she really that strong with raw wrist strength alone? Her growth was insanely fast. Just then, an alarm suddenly rang out. The door they had entered through slammed shut. In that sealed room, only a villain and a hero who had both lost their powers remained. And on top of that, they were both adults. Stardust immediately started pounding the door with her fists. Kim Dane told her, "It's no use. Don't waste your strength. Look, there's a timer over there. This door will open automatically in 3 hours. No matter how much you hit it now, it won't work. So just wait until time's up." As he spoke, Kim Dane noticed that Stardust had injured her hand from punching the door so hard. He could not help saying, "Why are you so reckless? You can't use your ability right now, remember?" Hearing that, Stardust immediately looked at him with suspicion. Kim Dane sighed and held out his hand. "Give me your hand." After hesitating for a moment, Stardust finally gave him her hand and let him bandage it. She awkwardly said, "I'm not going to say thank you." Kim Dane could not help retorting, "That sounds exactly like saying thank you." But not long after that, she started punching the wall again. Kim Dane felt like there was no way to convince her to stop, so he could only say, "I'm going to lie down for a bit. There's nothing to do for the next 3 hours anyway." "Stardust, if you have nothing to do either, you should rest too." He said that. But how could Kim Dane actually sleep? In truth, he could not let his guard down for even a second, because right now, he was completely trapped. He had no powers, and he was facing Stardust, whose physical ability was far beyond that of an ordinary grown man. There was no way he could relax. After 2 hours passed, Kim Dane felt like the oxygen in the room was starting to thin. This was genuinely getting bad. Stardust also looked like she was having trouble breathing. Covering her face, she suddenly asked, during the bridge incident, "That car, was that you?" Kim Dane's heart sank. So she had noticed. Stardust asked again, "Were you the one who stopped that car?" Kim Dane pretended not to understand. "I'm just a villain who doesn't know how to stop. Since I've always been running forward." "I don't know what you mean," Stardust continued. "Then what about the plane? Why the plane?" Kim Dane panicked so badly that for a moment he had no idea how to explain. He could only say, "I told you before, didn't I? I'm the villain and you're the hero. Your existence is what makes me complete." That is the kind of relationship we have. Is it strange for a hero to save people? Not strange at all. After hearing that answer, Stardust did not respond right away. Kim Dane knew he had sounded a little exaggerated because he had panicked. But he could blame all of that on the lack of oxygen. Stardust asked again, "Then why did you destroy the bridge? Did you already know the monster would appear? Did you also know that the monster would head toward the bridge?" Kim Dane immediately shot back, "Stardust, why are you believing those ridiculous conspiracy theories online?" I was surprised too, that was only a coincidence. But Stardust's expression did not change at all. Kim Dane felt his nerves tighten. What did that look mean? Was she testing him? Had he missed something just now? The bridge, the plane, the black disaster. Stardust was not believing the conspiracy theory. What she truly suspected was that he might not be a simple villain. Through her encounters with him, she had started questioning all of his previous terrorist attacks. This was probably a hero's intuition. If he failed to explain this properly, he would only make things worse and deepen her suspicions. It looked like he had no choice but to tackle it head-on. Kim Dane suddenly burst into laughter. "That's right. I knew that monster would come. Everything was prepared in advance to deal with that monster." "So what?" Stardust immediately asked. "How did you know? Do you really have some kind of precognition?" Kim Dane answered, "The answer is hacking. Korea's entire network is in the palm of my hand. So is it really strange that I knew Hanan Group's secret information?" But Stardust still felt something was off and asked, "Then why do you protect ordinary people? Aren't you a villain?" Kim Dane sneered, "Because I don't want anyone stealing my spotlight. When a monster appears, I stop it. If ordinary people suffer too much, no one will care about me anymore. Everything I do is just to make sure people keep paying attention to me. If not for that, I wouldn't care whether ordinary people lived or died. What does that have to do with you? Do you understand now?" After hearing that answer, Stardust stood up. Then, she walked toward Kim Dane, and there was a strange expression on her face. Kim Dane thought something was about to happen, but Stardust only told him to move aside, because the 3 hours were finally up. Once her powers returned, Stardust smashed the door open with a single punch. The two of them continued moving through the laboratory. On a machine nearby, there was a warning. Temporary designation, teleporter. Notes, target may escape using teleportation. Maintain A-rank protection at all times. Target likes attacking from behind. Beware of model mantis. Kim Dane finally realized that these people had even developed a teleportation-type ability user. Could this be Behemoth Prototype 0? This was the experimental chamber where the Black Disaster had once been kept. It must have broken out from here. This annoying underground laboratory exploration had pretty much reached its end. There was nothing else worth seeing. Stardust thought that if this was only a prototype, then the real body might still be hidden somewhere. Her intuition was so sharp that Kim Dane could only go along with it and say, "Then let's go check over there." But Stardust insisted on going the other way. Soon, the two arrived at their destination. Kim Dane recognized it at once. This was Behemoth. Right after that, Stardust walked over to the side and began checking the related documents. She left Kim Dane beside Behemoth just like that. They were only temporarily working together, and he had just desperately tried to prove he was a proper villain. But she was way too relaxed. Why did she keep turning her back to him so easily? That hurt Kim Dane's pride as a villain a little. It seemed words alone were not enough. He had to show her directly. So, Kim Dane picked up the experimental Behemoth. Stardust immediately turned around and questioned him. "What are you doing?" Kim Dane answered. "What else?" "Betraying you, of course." Stardust was so angry that she could not speak for a moment. In the original story, there had been a scene where Dr. Kim Sun-woo used Behemoth to fight Stardust. In other words, this thing could definitely be controlled. Stardust charged at him at full power and shouted, "I'll beat you within an inch of your life." The massive fist, formed by Behemoth, collided head-on with Stardust. Their battle officially began. After just a few exchanges, the surrounding structures and experimental equipment were already smashed to pieces. Kim Dane could not help shouting, "Stardust, are you trying to destroy this entire place?" At this rate, the whole area was going to collapse. But Stardust said coldly, "Then come fight me fair and square." Kim Dane asked back, "Have you ever seen a villain fight honestly?" "Stardust, this is what a villain is. Do you understand now? The moment you show your back, someone will stab you from behind." Just then, a mantis monster suddenly appeared behind Stardust. It was too fast. Kim Dane had no time to teleport her away. Just as the mantis monster was about to kill Stardust, Kim Dane teleported in front of her and blocked the attack for her. Stardust could not understand why Agostic would do something like this. Kim Dane only left one sentence behind, "You owe me one now." After saying that, he disappeared with teleportation. Back at the base, Seoun was still complaining. "Bro runs around outside all day, and then we can't even contact him. Does he ever think about the people waiting for him at home? I'm getting wrinkles just from waiting." Just then, with a loud clatter, Seoun immediately realized that Kim Dane seemed to be back. She was about to complain. "Bro, why did you take so long? We suddenly couldn't reach you at all." Lee Subin and Lee Ha-yul also heard her scream. When they rushed over, they found Kim Dane collapsed there, covered in blood. Lee Subin could not process the situation at all. The only things in her mind were the first aid kit and calling an ambulance, while So-in had no idea what to do, because this time, Kim Dane had lost far too much blood. Lee Ha-yul immediately told Se-on to move aside. Then, she activated her healing ability. As a wave of light flashed, Kim Dane's wounds finally began to recover. Meanwhile, Stardust, who remained at the scene, saw the blood he had left behind. The amount of blood loss was far too much. She understood him even less now. Why had he saved her again? "Agostic, who exactly are you?" After Lee Ha-yul used her healing ability to save Kim Dane, So-in and Lee Subin immediately handcuffed him. They were afraid he would keep causing trouble. Kim Dane felt like even his last bit of dignity was gone. Then, Lee Ha-yul and her younger brother prepared to leave for school. Before leaving, she apologized to Kim Dane for hiding her healing ability all this time. Kim Dane did not mind at all. Instead, he thanked her for saving him. He smiled and said, "Have a great first day of high school." After they left, So-in immediately warned Kim Dane, "Bro, if you dare say you're going out, I'll never forgive you." Then she looked at the round object nearby and asked in confusion, "What is this thing you brought back? It's kind of heavy." Kim Dane casually said, "So-in, that's a stress relief stone. It's for relaxing, so give it to me." So-in immediately retorted, "How is something this round supposed to relieve stress?" Kim Dane raised his hand and pulled the sphere over, then whispered, "Behemoth, wake up." Se-on and Lee Subin were terrified when they saw that, because the handcuffs on Kim Dane's wrists were instantly broken apart. The next second, countless tentacles reached towards Se-on and Lee Subin. The tentacles tied them up and hung them in midair. Kim Dane asked if they knew what they had done wrong, and the two were so scared that they immediately swore they would never do it again. Meanwhile, Shin Haru was tossing and turning on the other side, unable to fall asleep, because Agostic's figure kept appearing in her mind. Agostic should be fine, right? That state continued for an entire month, and even then, she remained the same. Kim Chae-hyun could not help asking her, "Haru, why have you been spacing out so much lately? Is something bothering you? There has to be something. Come on, tell your big sister." After hesitating for a moment, Shin Haru asked, "If a villain saves a hero, what does that mean?" Kim Chae-hyun looked confused. "What are you talking about? If a villain saves a hero?" Shin Haru quickly explained, "I recently read a novel, and it had a story like that." But Kim Chae-hyun said, "Actually, I've been hooked on a novel lately too. It sounds kind of similar to what you're talking about. Want to take a look?" The title was The Forbidden Love Between the Villain Agostic and the Hero Stardust. The moment Shin Haru saw that story, she dropped her head onto the desk in despair. But even then, she could not stop wondering if he was really okay. Could that man have actually died like that? No, that was impossible, right? A scheming guy like him should not die that easily. He was the man who had played all of Korea in the palm of his hand. He should still be alive and well, right? Then when would his next criminal operation happen? At that moment, Kim Dane had also finally made a decision. For now, he would stop personally carrying out criminal operations, because he wanted to rest for a while. Se-on thought he might as well stop forever. But Kim Dane said he was only temporarily stepping back. Someone else would act in his place. Seoin had no idea what he meant. Kim Dane understood that he could not always stay at the front. Until now, he had been the strongest fighter in the team, so he had been the most suitable person to appear personally. But now they had Behemoth. And Behemoth could easily hold Stardust back. To prepare a new trial for Stardust, he needed a powerful helper, and he needed to prepare a new opponent for her. In other words, a new team member was about to arrive. Not long after, somewhere else, a man was confessing with deep emotion. "Seihi, I love you. This pure white bouquet represents my heart. Please accept it." Kim Dane, who had read the original story thoroughly, knew this was the scene he had been waiting for. But the woman said coldly, "Customer, you'd better get lost. I'm under a lot of stress right now. Were you seriously joking around in someone else's sacred workplace?" That woman drove the man away with a single sentence. Seeing it in person, Kim Dane found the scene extremely interesting. The woman's name was Choi Se-hee. Kim Dane had been observing her from the side for quite some time, because in the original story, she would eventually become an ultimate villain, operating under the name Elex. Although she was currently living as an ordinary kind citizen, she had always been fighting against the destructive impulses deep inside her. Working part-time was only a temporary measure to suppress those impulses. Simply put, she was a ticking time bomb. Choi Se-hee complained about how long she had to keep living like this, especially when she still had to go to another job after finishing this one. She looked around and confirmed that no one was nearby. Then she finally activated her ability, preparing to vent her stress. And clearly, after letting it out this way, her mood improved a lot. Just then, a voice suddenly sounded, "Beautiful." Choi Se-hee immediately recognized the person who had arrived. It was Egostic. Kim Dane said, "I've been looking for someone like you for a long time. Choi Se-hee, how would you like to use your ability to help me carry out criminal operations?" The moment she heard the words criminal operations, Choi Se-hee cursed him as a lunatic. But Kim Dane said, "In your eyes, are all superpowered people villains? Try attacking me. Let me see how far your power goes." After Choi Se-hee refused, the two of them soon began fighting. Kim Dane also used Behemoth's power. For the first time, Choi Se-hee went all out and fully released her power. But attacks at that level could not even reach Kim Dane, and yet, this was exactly the feeling Choi Se-hee wanted. That sense of release made her incredibly excited, and just as she was about to enjoy a real fight, Kim Dane said, "My recruitment offer is valid for 1 week. Choi Se-hee, think it over carefully during that time." After saying that, Kim Dane disappeared with teleportation. Choi Se-hee wanted to do something, but there was no way to stop him in time. Still, that feeling just now had been absolutely incredible. Not long after, on the other side, Kim Dane stared at the result in disbelief. Soen said regretfully, "What a shame, Dane. This is the end of the line for you." Kim Dane protested on the spot. "Han Seowin, how could you do this? I worked so hard to raise you." Seowin burst into laughter. "Goodbye, bro." Lee Subin could not help speaking up. "Please let him off just this once. Bro is about to go bankrupt." But Seowin showed no mercy. "Stop talking and go wash the dishes. The dishes for a family of 5, 3 days worth, are waiting right there." Kim Dane could only sigh. He had really raised a little tiger. Seowin then asked, "Bro, aren't you supposed to be recruiting a new member? It's already been 3 days. Is it really okay for you to keep playing around like this?" Kim Dane answered calmly. By now, she should have taken the bait. At that moment, Choi Se-hee was completely exhausted. Even the manager nearby noticed something was wrong and told her to go outside and rest for a while. So Choi Se-hee went outside and started checking her phone. Since everyone kept shouting Mango, she became curious about what kind of person that was. The news headline clearly read, "Korea's most influential villain, ranked number 1, Egostic." Egostic, the only villain with his own fan club. He was even more popular than most heroes. Only then did Choi Se-hee realize that the man was actually a major figure. Apparently, Egostic's criminal operations were not truly criminal in the usual sense. Aside from property damage, every incident had ended with 0 casualties. Choi Se-hee thought maybe she really could give it a try. Choi Se-hee was an electric ability user. Surprisingly, before meeting Egostic, she had never once fully used her ability. Because her parents hated superpowered people, they had always strictly controlled her power. She was like an overcharged battery, unable to release the excess electricity inside her. The pressure continued to build, and over time, Choi Se-hee's destructive instinct turned into a strange obsession. That was why Kim Dane had given her a recruitment offer with a 1-week deadline. He wanted her to think it through properly during that time. And so, the days passed one by one. Every day, Choi Si-hee endured it. Every day, she suppressed her ability. A week passed quickly. That night, while Choi Si-hee was walking home, she suddenly heard a small sound nearby. She immediately shouted with excitement, "Agostic, what took you so long?" But when she turned around, she realized it was only a cat. In the end, she had gotten excited for nothing. Just then, the real voice came from behind her. "So, Choi Si-hee, have you considered my previous offer?" Choi Si-hee answered immediately, "I'm willing. I'm very willing. No matter what you ask me to do, I'll do it. Criminal operations, anything. I'll do it all. Please just hurry up and let me destroy something." Kim Dane immediately activated teleportation. The next second, he brought Choi Si-hee back to the secret base. Kim Dane said to everyone, "Come on, say hello. She's our new member, Choi Si-hee." Lee Subin and Lee Ha-yul both greeted her. Seo-in could not help complaining. "What? Another woman?" Agostic also took off his mask and said, "My name is Kim Dane." Choi Si-hee recognized him at once. "Aren't you the handsome guy who came to our cafe last week?" The moment she realized it, her face instantly turned red. Because she was too embarrassed, she accidentally activated her ability. As a result, the entire base immediately lost power. In the darkness, someone could not help shouting, "Can someone turn on the lights?" The screen went black. Someone else complained, "It's all because of the electricity she released." Did everyone feel that? My whole body went numb. That was honestly amazing. Just then, a beam of light suddenly appeared and illuminated everyone. And that light happened to shine directly on Choi Si-hee's face. A child complained, "What are all of you doing? I need to do my homework. Can someone turn on the lights?" The child speaking was Lee Ha-yul's younger brother, Lee Chae-yoon. Meanwhile, somewhere else, there was also someone who was very curious. Where exactly was Mango Stick right now? And what was he doing? On the forum, everyone was guessing when Agostic would return. One post even read, "If you want to see Mango sooner, hit recommend. Mango Stick versus Apple Mango, the true hero of this era." This was Agostic's official fan club. A system message popped up. "Congratulations, you have been promoted to a Mango crew member." Shin Haru had no idea how she had ended up like this. She remembered what Frostblade had said before. "Haru, did you register on Mango Stick's fan forum? What an outstanding member." Thinking about that, she could only force herself to sleep first. But the next second, she remembered the moment Agostic had blocked that attack for her. "You owe me one now." Even while trying to sleep, she could not stop thinking about him. Back at the base, because Choi Si-hee had accidentally caused a blackout by activating her ability, she kept apologizing and saying it was all her fault. Seo-in said it was fine. Since she was free anyway, she could fix the wiring while she was at it. Kim Dane patted Choi Si-hee on the shoulder. "Miss Si-hee, let's go somewhere together." So he brought Choi Si-hee to a quiet place. "There's no one here right now. It's just the two of us." Choi Si-hee asked in confusion. "So, what are you trying to do?" Kim Dane said, "Let loose as much as you want. You've always wanted to try it, haven't you? Going all out with your power." After hearing that, Choi Si-hee immediately activated her ability. "Then you better dodge." The moment that thunder-like power erupted, Kim Dane also used teleportation to put distance between them. He could not help thinking that this woman really was ridiculously strong. The dazzling electric light instantly illuminated the entire area. After releasing her power, Choi Si-hee became visibly exhausted and asked, "Satisfied?" Kim Dane answered, "As long as you're with us, you can use your ability freely." Choi Si-hee asked, "These criminal operations you mentioned won't hurt people, right?" Kim Dane immediately answered, "Of course, we're non-violent." It sounded like nonsense, but as long as no one got hurt, it technically counted as non-violent. Then Choi Si-hee asked, "By the way, how old are you?" Kim Dane calculated for a moment and said, "This body is 23 this year." Choi Si-hee paused. "So we're the same age. You came to find me after investigating me, right? Then why are you still speaking so formally?" Kim Dane smiled. "Then from now on, let's speak casually. Welcome to Team Ego." Choi Si-hee could not help asking, "Team Ego? What even is that?" She even started wondering if that naming sense was real. After that, Choi Si-hee officially began her ability training. Kim Dane told her, "Try imagining electricity wrapping around your body. Then, release that electricity toward the ground." With a thunderous boom, the entire ground trembled. Soin, who had been woken up by the noise, could not help asking, "What are you doing this early in the morning?" Kim Dae-in explains that this was special training because during the next criminal operation, Choi Se-hee would be fighting Stardust. Choi Se-hee also wondered if this move would really work. Kim Dae-in felt like something was off too, then suddenly remembered. It was supposed to be the feeling of wrapping electricity around her feet and firing it into the ground. So you need to wrap the electricity around your feet. Choi Se-hee successfully released her power, and her body floated into the air. Seeing that, Kim Dae-in nodded and said, "That's enough for today." So-eun thoughtfully handed her some water. Kim Dae-in stared for a moment as Choi Se-hee drank. But Choi Se-hee noticed it right away. She immediately snapped, "What are you looking at? I'm covered in sweat. Go take a shower." Then she angrily threw the bottle at him. "How could I not sweat after training? You think everyone fights with fancy telekinesis like you?" Kim Dae-in immediately activated Behemoth's power and smiled. "Se-hee, does that mean you want to try me?" And just like that, the two of them started fighting. Se-eun could not help complaining from the side. "Can you two act like adults for once?" One night, a month later, the group was still playing games. Kim Dae-in shouted, "9 o'clock. Check the 9 o'clock direction. Can't you talk to him?" Then he complained again. "Choi Se-hee, your controls are terrible. What is that aim?" And so, Kim Dae-in, So-eun, and Choi Se-hee were hiding there late at night, playing games. But just as they were making a scene, a voice suddenly interrupted them. Choi Se-hee was so startled that she threw the controller away. And just like that, Kim Dae-in became the main culprit and was caught red-handed by Lee Soo-bin. Instead of sleeping late at night, they were hiding here, playing games. Lee Soo-bin scolded them furiously. They were supposed to carry out a criminal operation today, yet they had stayed up until dawn. It seemed they had been inactive for too long, and everyone was way too excited. Facing Lee Soo-bin's scolding, all three of them were clearly guilty. Kim Dae-in quickly said, "Let's not do this, everyone. How about we all go to sleep now?" Choi Se-hee and Se-eun seized the chance and immediately slipped away. Kim Dae-in also tried to escape. "Then I'll go sleep too, for the success of tomorrow's operation." But Lee Soo-bin said coldly, "Dae-in, you stay." Choi Se-hee and So-eun secretly watched from the side. Both of them thought Lee Soo-bin was terrifying when she got angry, and neither wanted to be scolded by her. The next day, Stardust received a report. An emergency had occurred, and civilians on the street were being ordered to enter buildings immediately. The villain crime report stated that all civilians within a 350-meter radius had already evacuated, with no casualties. Hero Stardust was currently heading to the scene. Stardust's first thought was that the mango stick she had been waiting for had finally returned. But when she arrived, she realized something was off. A woman greeted her. "Hello, Stardust." It was Choi Se-hee, the new member of Team Ego, now operating under the villain name Elex. When Stardust saw that it was not Mango Stick, she was clearly a little disappointed. Still, she said coldly, "Villain, stop your criminal activity and surrender immediately. If you refuse, I will suppress you by force." Choi Se-hee immediately activated her ability. A powerful electric current shot right past Stardust's face. She said, "My name is Elex. For his sake, I will be your opponent." That attack had clearly grazed Stardust's face. 1 week before Elex's official operation, Kim Dae-in had come to find her. Choi Se-hee asked in confusion, "Didn't yesterday's training already end? What else is there?" Kim Dae-in said, "I think I forgot to teach you your finishing move. It's called Lightning Punch. Even the name sounds awesome, right? Want to know how it works?" Choi Se-hee could not help saying that his naming sense was hopeless. But Kim Dae-in thought to himself that this was the name she had given it herself in the original story. He explained, "This skill isn't about simply firing electricity. You need to imagine wrapping electricity around your hand, then clenching your fist and punching it out. After that, you take it one step further and charge the electricity to its limit. Finally, you concentrate all that power into your fist." Of course, Choi Se-hee was already doing exactly that. She threw a punch, and the air immediately crackled with electricity. A deep, flame-scorched trench was carved into the ground. Kim Dae-in said with satisfaction, "How about that? This is Lightning Punch. Pretty strong, right? There's still 1 week until the official operation, so focus on practicing this." Choi Se-hee asked, "You want me to use that on Stardust? Why are you doing that to her? That's harsh." Kim Dae-in said seriously, "Because I'm a villain with a tragic backstory." Choi Se-hee could not help retorting, "What are you even talking about? You sound like an idiot." Then came the day of the official criminal operation. Elex sneered, "Is this all an A-rank hero can do these days?" Choi Se-hee's attacks forced Stardust to keep dodging, and the two could not properly clash head-on. Meanwhile, someone was watching their battle from a distance. Kim Dane was watching from the safest front row spot, like he had a VIP seat. He even had popcorn. It was a free performance staged just for him. The electric current was extremely painful for Stardust. But if she wanted to get close to Alex, she had no choice but to endure it. Choi Si-hee also realized what Stardust was trying to do. She was forcing her way through the electric barrier, so Se-hee immediately increased the output of her super electricity. The surrounding buildings were overloaded by the current and began exploding one after another. For a moment, Choi Si-hee thought this hero might be easier to handle than she had expected. But in the next second, Stardust not only withstood the attack, she even forcibly dispersed the electric current. That sight completely shocked Choi Si-hee. She hurriedly controlled the electricity to create distance, wondering if this person was basically a monster. Had Egostic really been dealing with someone like this the entire time? Stardust was slowly beginning to adapt to Elex's attacks, and that was exactly why Kim Dane had worked so hard to strengthen Si-hee. His goal was to improve Stardust's durability. Compared with the brutal experiences she went through in the original story, this trial might not even be worth mentioning. Choi Si-hee continued trying to attack with electricity, but the effects were already getting weaker. Stardust said coldly, "Your name is Elex, right? It's not too late to surrender. If you do, I can arrest you without hurting you." Choi Si-hee shouted, "Get lost. You asked for this." The next second, Stardust shot forward like a streak of light. Choi Si-hee also gathered the last of her strength. Their fists collided head-on. With a thunderous boom, shattered stones and the shockwaves from both powers exploded in every direction. Kim Dane also used teleportation at that moment. He appeared behind the battlefield. Then, he opened the projector to check how the fight was going. The camera footage was still very clear. Stardust was almost completely unharmed, and a deep groove had been carved into the ground. Choi Si-hee, on the other hand, had injured her arm in that last clash. Stardust immediately asked, "The him you mentioned just now, who are you talking about? Is someone behind you?" Choi Si-hee sneered, "Do you think I'll tell you?" But Stardust replied calmly, "That's fine. I can take my time listening later." Just then, a flash of light appeared, and Choi Si-hee vanished from the spot. The moment Stardust saw that familiar teleportation, she immediately guessed who had arrived. The next second, that familiar voice rang out. "Hello, Stardust. Of course it's me. I am Egostic. It's been a long time." Kim Dane had even started the live stream. The comments instantly exploded, all chanting Egostic's name. Some viewers who had just joined were already asking who that cool-looking woman was. Then the comments immediately went off track. Egostic caught cheating live, and right in front of Stardust. After all, the moment the live stream started, everyone saw Egostic carrying an unknown woman bridal style. Stardust looked at him and could not help asking, "Egostic, you're alive?" Kim Dane had no idea why she was asking that, so he answered, "Of course. For you that should be bad news, right?" Stardust quietly said, "Is that so?" "Thank goodness." Kim Dane immediately seized the chance to tease her. "Did you just say thank goodness? Wow, I didn't expect Hero Stardust to worry about me. Should I report my safety to you in advance next time?" That sentence made Stardust's face turn red instantly. Choi Si-hee complained, "Why did you come so late?" Kim Dae-in answered, "Sorry, I watched until the very end before stepping in." Only then did Stardust realize that Egostic was still holding a woman in his arms. Kim Dane also finally noticed that the atmosphere felt wrong, because right now, Stardust looked terrifying, and she was walking toward him step by step. Choi Si-hee asked in a panic, "What's wrong with her? Why does she suddenly seem kind of off?" Kim Dane had no idea what was going on either. He could only assume that this was the anger of a hero. Right now, Stardust looked as if she wanted to tear both villains in front of her apart. After all, Kim Dane had suddenly appeared and saved Choi Si-hee. Stardust asked coldly, "Egostic, why are you here?" Kim Dane answered, "Me? I came to save my comrade." Stardust repeated quietly, "Comrade?" Kim Dane controlled the screen, projecting several silhouettes. "Here, let me introduce you to my comrades, Ego Stream. This is the villain alliance I personally created." When Stardust heard that, she was clearly shocked. Kim Dane continued, "I have several comrades around me who are just as strong as Elex here in my arms. And from now on, I won't be carrying out criminal operations alone anymore. So you better stay on your toes from now on, Stardust." Then, Kim Dane suddenly shouted, Zap her, my electric beast. 100,000 volts. A bolt of lightning instantly shot towards Stardust. Choi Se-hee could not help complaining. Didn't you tell me not to use that before? Kim Dane simply smiled at Stardust. Stardust, you're still far from catching me. Keep working hard. After saying that, the two of them vanished from the spot. Only the furious Stardust was left behind, shouting, "Stop right there." She slammed her fist into the ground in anger. For some reason, a strong feeling of irritation welled up inside her. Whenever she thought about how Elex and Egostic were acting so lovey-dovey just now, her mind could not stop imagining all kinds of strange conversations between them. Stardust gritted her teeth and thought that the next time they met, she was definitely going to take him down. Meanwhile, Kim Dane had arrived somewhere else. He struck the ground with his fist. Then, with another teleportation, he arrived underground. After checking his surroundings, he confirmed that he had come to the right place. The 30th floor of the endless staircase. A false wall on the right, the classical corridor, and candles burning with green flames. And there stood a massive obsidian door. A voice came from inside. "Hello. This is our first time meeting. What brings you here?" The one speaking was the Vine Witch. Kim Dane said, "I came here to ask you to use sealing magic to seal 2 of my diaries. One is a diary that records detailed logs about this world, and the other records the future. Also, the box contains your payment for the sealing." The witch opened the box and looked inside. She praised the beautiful stones, agreed to his request, and asked how long the seal should last. Kim Dane answered, "Both of them, until the day I die." The witch let out a soft sigh. Then she began casting magic to seal the 2 books. Kim Dane quietly watched the scene unfold. The witch said, "From now on, no one except the owner can see what is written inside." Kim Dane thanked her. "Witch, thank you." Watching him walk away, the witch reminded him, "You are walking a very difficult path. Do your best." When Kim Dane heard that, he froze for a moment. Then he answered, "Someone has to walk it." But in his heart, he thought that the witch in the original story had never said anything this encouraging. After that, Kim Dane went alone to the rooftop of a building. There was only one reason he had decided to live in this world, and that reason was Stardust. Even more terrible things would happen in the future. So he shouted into the night sky, "Stardust, believe in me." Just then, So-eun called him. "Dinner is eel rice bowls. Why aren't you back yet? Everyone is waiting for you." Kim Dane smiled and answered, "I'm on my way. I'll be back in 3 seconds." And the story was already nearing the final part of its first act. Not long after, somewhere else, inside a control room, someone quietly said, "The time has finally come." With a thunderous boom, a cutting machine first emerged from the ground, and that machine kept growing larger. "Everyone, the time has finally arrived. It is time to destroy Korea." The next second, a giant robot began rampaging through the city. Not long before that, inside a classroom at a certain university, someone was watching a video of Egostic and could not help saying, "This Elex is seriously gorgeous." "Do you think she's dating Egostic?" Shinharu, who was sitting behind them, happened to hear that. Another person immediately argued, "She's obviously his comrade. What are you even talking about? Didn't you see how close they looked in front of the camera? Who carries an ordinary female friend bridal style? Is this how chronically single people think? It's exactly because there's nothing between them that they can hug like that on camera. If he really liked her, he would never be able to do that." Now that you mention it, that actually makes sense. It doesn't just make sense. That has been Egostic's attitude from the very beginning. There's no doubt his heart belongs only to Stardust. That's exactly why I feel bad for Stardust. I almost cried while watching the live stream. Even if Egostic is only a villain in Stardust's eyes, she would still care a little, right? Holding another woman right in front of her was way too cruel. But another person said, "I still think Egostic and LX look better together." The moment he said that, he noticed Shinharu tapping the desk. He quietly asked his friend if he had said something wrong. Was she a fan who supported Egostic and Stardust of the official pairing? Just then, the professor announced that class was beginning. "The theory we will study today is..." But at that moment, Shinharu received an emergency alert. She hurriedly packed her things and rushed out, immediately asking headquarters, "Has a villain appeared?" Headquarters replied, "An unknown giant weapon is advancing in the southeastern outskirts of the city. Stardust is needed on site immediately." After arriving from the Korean Hero Association, Stardust was shocked by the scene in front of her. What stood there was a gigantic robot. With a single step, it could easily destroy an entire building. Just as a small car was about to be crushed, a streak of light flew beneath the robot's foot. It was Stardust who saved the car. She told the people inside, if the car can still move, get out of here as fast as you can. Then Stardust charged toward the giant robot again. A voice came from the robot. Stardust, Hound of the Korean Association, can you stop the final spark of Hanan Group? Stardust gathered her strength and rushed forward with a punch. But the next second, the robot swatted her away. She could not understand what was going on with that level of power. Stardust immediately got back up and charged toward the robot again. Then a voice suddenly came from inside the robot. Doctor, what happened? Right after that, another voice rang out. Electric Beast, go. The robot suddenly stumbled and collapsed right where it stood. Then a cloud of thick smoke rose, and a familiar voice followed. Stardust, can you hear me? Stardust immediately understood. It was Egostic. The reason the robot had suddenly gone haywire was that Team Ego had been fighting to seize control of it. Kim Dane laughed. That's right, it's me, Egostic. Our friends at Hanan Group created such a stylish giant weapon. As a true villain, it would be a shame not to take it for a spin. Then he deliberately let out a villainous laugh. Choi Se-hee could not help saying that Kim Dain was an absolute jerk when he acted. Soon calmly said she would get used to it soon. Kim Dane continued. Stardust, I want to use this stylish giant weapon to destroy the city. Can you stop me? When Stardust heard that, she actually became excited. Of course. I will definitely stop you, Egostic. Then, she turned into a streak of light and charged straight at the robot. Seo-in told Kim Dane that the output adjustment was complete. Kim Dane gripped the control lever and thought to himself, Haru, today you're going to level up properly. The robot's arm suddenly began twisting into motion. Then it collided head-on with Stardust's fist. It was clear that for now, her strength could not quite keep up with the robot. Kim Dane immediately threw out a villainous taunt. Stardust, with that level of strength, you think you can stop the giant weapon octopus? Don't make me laugh. But while he was taunting her, he also told Seo-in to raise the output a little more and asked if they could settle this in one go. The robot, now at full firepower, began swinging its arms wildly at Stardust. Stardust immediately realized that she had to dodge these attacks with even more flexibility. She was not fast enough yet. She had to be faster, as fast as possible. Stardust pushed her speed to the limit, constantly evading the robot's attacks. Yes, this was exactly what Kim Dane wanted. He even thought that today he might finally be able to go home in one piece without getting injured. Meanwhile, somewhere else, someone reported quietly, Mr. President, preparations are complete. This person was the President of Korea. He knew there was only one way to deal with that ultimate weapon. So he pressed the launch button for a super missile, preparing to destroy the entire area. That was the decision everyone had reached during the meeting. At that moment, Seo-in and Kim Dane were still fully focused on controlling the robot. They seemed completely unaware of what was about to happen. The flames sprayed by the robot were easily dodged by Stardust, and at that moment, Kim Dane had also made up his mind. He said, Seo-in, raise the output one more level. If it was Stardust, she would definitely be able to endure it. Even Stardust herself was growing more excited. With a thunderous boom, the robot was struck so hard that it shook violently. The people inside the robot were thrown into a dizzy mess. Kim Dane slammed down on the control pedal and kept pushing forward. He had to show off the joystick spinning skills he had honed back in the arcade. Stardust finally started getting the feel for it, because she could clearly sense her ability growing little by little. So she shouted in her heart, Egostic, bring it on. And now, she was gradually getting used to the robot's movements. Egostic was still waiting there for her, so she had to break through this situation as quickly as possible. But in the next second, she was punched away by the robot. Kim Dane immediately taunted her. Did you think you were starting to get used to this attack? That was just overconfidence. Hearing that mockery, Stardust was clearly angered. Still, the performance of the robot octopus really was impressive. Stardust immediately launched a straight punch at the robot. That punch struck one of the robot's legs directly. Seo-in immediately questioned Kim Dane. Bro, what are you doing? Kim Dane simply smiled. This is exactly what makes it fun. Now, it was time to get serious. Kim Dane ordered, Octopus, increase output. But the robot did not react at all. Kim Dane repeated, increase output. Only then did Seo-in start controlling the robot again, with great difficulty. At that moment, the robot finally moved again. Kim Dane immediately taunted her. Stardust, can you adapt to this speed? Is this really all you've got? The comments exploded as well. Is this level even real? This was practically a battle between the strongest beings in the world. Was this really the Stardust people used to call useless? The viewers were getting so excited that their chests felt like they were burning. Was Stardust really going to rise to S rank this time? Inside the robot, Seo-in and Kim Dae-in could still be heard arguing. Hearing those voices made Stardust even more irritated. Now she had one more reason why she absolutely had to defeat this giant weapon, Agostic's women. If not for Agostic, she would never have been able to defeat this giant weapon. But now, she could. So Stardust charged straight toward the robot. The force of her impact shook the entire machine violently. Choi Se-hee could not help saying in surprise, "Why does that hero seem even stronger than before?" Seo-in warned that the output was almost at its limit, and they had to settle this within 10 minutes. But Kim Dae-in said, "Then we'll enjoy it until the very last second." Seo-in snapped, "Enjoy my ass, you maniac. This thing is going to explode at this rate." Poor Lee Subin was already getting motion sick inside the robot. By then, Stardust had rushed above the robot, and the place she was aiming for was the center of the machine, because she knew Agostic was inside. Just then, she received a message from the association. "Stardust, leave that area immediately. The president has launched a small nuclear missile at the giant weapon. If you get caught in it, you'll die." Stardust froze. Had the president lost his mind? If a missile exploded here, ordinary civilians would be put in danger too. She could already defeat the giant weapon, so why would they do this? The association helplessly explained that the president probably felt he would look incompetent if he did nothing. "Stardust, this is a decision made at the national level. The association has no power to stop it. Don't ask any more questions. Get out of there now." Kim Dae-in, who knew nothing about this, was still taunting her. "Stardust, how long are you going to stand there? My robot's fists are itching." Stardust noticed that Agostic was not continuing his attack. He was waiting for her. Was he really a villain who cared for heroes? Right now, he had no idea a missile was about to fall here. So Stardust simply removed her communication earpiece. The next second, she charged without hesitation in the opposite direction. The people at the association shouted in shock. She threw away her earpiece. "What's going on?" But the president of the association calmly said, "It's fine. Like always, if we just sit back and watch, the answer will come on its own. So let's keep watching." Kim Dae-in had no idea where Stardust was going and thought she was running away, so he kept acting. Agostic is a villain. If they wanted reasons, the country had countless reasons to kill him. After all, he was a wicked villain who loved kidnapping and criminal operations. And yet for some reason, Stardust did not hate him. She flew straight toward the nuclear missile. There was not a trace of hesitation in her eyes. The missile was getting closer and closer. Stardust remembered what Agostic had once said to her. "You owe me one now." That made her resolve to stop the nuclear missile even stronger. Before the missile could explode, Stardust reached out and blocked it directly. The overwhelming impact forced her to use every bit of strength she had. Kim Dae-in finally noticed that something seemed to be flying toward them, but he still could not understand what it was. Choi Se-hee recognized it. "Isn't that a missile?" Kim Dae-in was stunned when he saw it. Stardust was using everything she had to hold back the missile's force. Finally, the missile's propulsion began to weaken. She seized that chance, forcibly changed the missile's direction, and sent it flying upward into the sky. Kim Dae-in hurriedly asked, "Seo-in, can you figure out what's going on?" Completely unaware of the situation, he was desperately trying to track where the missile had come from. Seo-in found the answer almost immediately. "I found it. It's a nuclear missile launched from the presidential office." But it was already too late, because there were only 10 seconds left before detonation. At that moment, the president of Korea still looked extremely confident. But at the very last second, Stardust grabbed the missile and forced herself to fly away with it. Meanwhile, Frostblade was still casually shopping outside. For a moment, Kim Dae-in had no idea how to handle the situation. Carrying the missile, Stardust used every bit of strength she had to fly into the sky. At the final moment, she hurled the missile away with all her might. With a thunderous boom, a massive mushroom cloud rose in the sky. The missile had finally exploded in midair. Lee Ha-yul also saw the scene, and the Hero Association president did not even have time to eat his popcorn. The president of Korea's expression darkened instantly. Seo-in and Choi Se-hee were also seeing something like this for the first time. Kim Dae-in could not stop himself from shouting, "Stardust." At that moment, Stardust had already used up all her strength and was falling from the sky. Fortunately, in the next second, a hand caught her. Kim Dae-in shouted in frustration, "What are you doing? Who told you to help?" What if you died? Then he held Stardust and landed safely on the ground. Kim Dane had not expected that a body capable of producing such terrifying strength could feel this soft in his arms. But Stardust's expression looked strange, and Kim Dane's heart tightened. Crap, is she about to get angry? Why was she looking at him like that? Was she angry because she was being held by a villain? Kim Dane quickly said, Stardust, I thought you ran away like a coward. How did you move so fast? Why did you stop that missile? The target of that missile was the giant weapon Octopus. The giant weapon is already half destroyed, and if the missile hit it, it would be completely disabled. If we hadn't noticed in time, everyone in Ego Stream might have been wiped out together. So why did you stop the missile? Stardust answered softly, That's why. Let's just say I paid back the favor I owed you. After saying that, she closed her eyes. But what did that smile mean? Had Stardust realized it? Had she realized that he was not just a simple villain? Fortunately, her life was not in danger. That was thanks to how sturdy Stardust had always been. Just then, So-eun said through the earpiece, Bro, the president personally launched that missile. Kim Dane realized that this world had now become completely unpredictable. If everyone saw Stardust blocking a missile for them, public opinion would probably start shipping him and Stardust even harder. He could not let that continue. So he immediately said, Seon, start the live stream. Seon had been waiting for that order and instantly started the live stream. Kim Dayan looked into the camera and said, Hello everyone, I'm Egoistic. The comments exploded immediately. Everyone was asking what had happened after Stardust suddenly flew upward, and the live stream cut off. Kim Dane said, Do you want to know where Stardust went? She is right here. When the viewers saw Stardust unconscious, they were instantly shocked. Some asked if Stardust had lost, while others cursed Egoistic for going too far. Kim Dane said coldly, Of course I didn't do this. This was done by the president, who wanted to kill me, a villain. He fired a nuclear missile into the city. The president of Korea used a nuclear weapon just to kill one villain. Public opinion online exploded instantly. Everyone was furious, saying the president had abandoned the ordinary citizens of the city just to kill Egoistic. And Stardust, who had just woken up, sighed too.